The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the book.
You covered 12. Covered.
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into the Monday post Super Bowl edition of the Bostonian versus the book. He is Dave Sharapan. I'm Matt Perrault. We are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the book, and the same on Twitter, X, and Sports Grid Replay. I think tonight we're on Sports Grid Replay.
Pick them.
It's probably minus 110 both sides. Sirius XM channel 159. If you guys are watching, thank you, listening. Thank you on the replay crew. We love you guys. Thank you for the comments. You guys did a great job over the weekend, leaving your predictions for the Chiefs and the Eagles. We appreciate all that interaction and the comment on our YouTube. Again, if you're not subscribed, please do so at Boston versus the book. Dave, how are you on a Monday? No football for quite a while.
Good. Just another day. You know, it was a game we'll talk about. Everybody's talking about, I love the Monday after the Super Bowl when the people that would come in the book and cash their tickets, knew everything, couldn't miss. They had it right. All this, that, whatever. One of my favorite days. And then, you wake up today and you go to look at the tab on the odds screen and there's no football. And it's like, oh boy, okay, what do you do? Let's go to the hockey. Let's check who's playing. Oh, wait, there's
Tournament.
no hockey either.
Yeah.
What? We're decimated with things to look at on the odds screen or in your sportsbook app. It's basketball. Just basketball, which I love basketball. There's a lot of people that'll be like, I don't watch the NBA. I don't like the NBA. The NBA is this. College basketball. Whoo, tough weekend for the top teams. All the top teams took an L. Really good stuff. And yeah, Addison, the wrench, Beanpot tonight is all you have. Vinny Konowinski, Daytona.
That's in a week. I mean, I guess
what?
It's NASCAR week. But that's tough. I mean, like the sprint races, right, are happening this week in Daytona, today, tomorrow. Qualifying happens in a couple of days. So yeah, you got that, but that's not. I mean, the race itself is Sunday, so you got some time.
Lanus, you're a Canadian guy that likes NASCAR. You said it's NASCAR week. I'm impressed.
It is NASCAR week, but yeah, I mean, not
really.
Yeah, I mean, today is interesting because people are watching the books kind of come out and report. Like BetMGM, a bunch of people sent us the fact that BetMGM said it was the most profitable game ever for them when it came to yesterday. So they did quite well. Others did not do nearly as well. I think that there's, we talked about it over the, with all the bookmakers that we had on, Chris Andrews and talking to Jay Cornegay, talking to Derek Stevens. It depended upon what book your futures, what did you have, and then what did you get from action leading into it. Like the Westgate said they were going to need the Eagles, which was like, oh, okay, interesting. And then Derek Stevens said they probably were going to need the Chiefs. So it just depends upon where the sharp money was going and where the larger bets were coming in, and then what did your future position look like. So I think the game was interesting for that reason. Did you hear of any like bump in action, or was it the same refrain that we heard Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that it was not a heavily bet Super Bowl?
I'm still waiting to hear. Have not heard yet, and hopefully we'll hear by the end of today. I'm sure Fox or somebody will put it out, Ben Fox or Purdom or Dewey or Patrick Everson. There will be a bunch of people that will put out not only the Nevada handle, but the each individual state handle. It should have been a good day for BetMGM because they take a lot of props. And Saquon under.
Yep.
Travis Kelce under everything. Receptions, yards, no touchdown for him, no touchdown for Saquon. They were the most popular choices.
Yeah.
So when the most popular choices lose and stuff in the prop market, it's good for them. The game itself, like, I don't know. I mean, I wore Eagles stuff for a week straight. I went on every show across the country, talked about the Eagles defense. and said that was going to be the story of the game. I don't know how you give the whole defensive line the MVP. But damn, I mean,
Sweat
Patrick Mahomes was running for his life every play. Got hit more yesterday than he did all freaking playoffs.
Yeah. And most sacks in his career, 6. You called it. I mean, you said last week that you thought the recipe for success for Philadelphia was going to be the Tampa Super Bowl 2.0, in which they lost the game 31-9, which if you watch those games back to back, you probably think it's a replay. Like, they looked identical. Tampa, and the pressure that they put upon Mahomes and made him uncomfortable, got him off his spot, hit him when he threw. And then when you combine that for Patrick Mahomes being absolutely horrific last night, that combination leads to an absolute blowout in a game that really was never in question. So you said it. You said, hey, this could be Tampa. Beat the hell out of Mahomes. And it was a good call out of you.
They didn't even blitz once.
No.
That's crazy. When you can get, I mean, that's the NFL. If you can get pressure with 4 guys. And by the way, did they not run the ball on purpose? Or they were unable to run it, and then the game script dictated that they had to abandon the running game?
I think that was more the script, really. I mean, they couldn't run the ball anyway. I mean, it was Pacheco. That's why they signed Kareem Hunt. They signed Kareem Hunt because they couldn't run the ball. And so they tried to go out and get somebody. But the Eagles were ready for it, and the Eagles' defense already was one of the best against the run, them and the Ravens. So that was going to be a difficult task anyway. And then the offensive line, I mean, we talked about it all playoffs long. You can't move around left tackles and left guards and right tackles and right guards and just start interchanging parts and expect this to work against an elite defense.
No.
So Tooney being on the left tackle spot for being the guard that he is, he's an all-pro guard. He's not a left tackle. And the Eagles finally had somebody that could take advantage of it and make it and expose it. I mean, the Chiefs were living with 9 lives all year doing this, like 1-score games, consistently getting away with turnovers and bad play. And just the opponent kept on throwing up on themselves. And the Eagles just didn't do that. I thought early, with that first pass interference call that came down on A.J. Brown, I was like, oh my gosh. And then the makeup call happened on the next series.
Right.
But the Eagles couldn't, the Chiefs couldn't move on the Eagles defense. They couldn't do anything offensively.
Nothing.
So
there was no success, and it got worse. The punts prop went over.
Right.
The number of punts almost in the first half went over because there was so many 3 and outs. The first half literally had the Chiefs unable to get, I think they had 1 first down in the entire first half. So their defense got beat up a little bit. They were tired.
You saw them getting tired. Like I tweeted it. I was like, man, they're getting tired. The Chiefs, it was the only game this year in the NFL where an offense did not run a single play in the opponent's territory in the first 9 drives of the game.
Oh my Lord.
Not first half, first 9 drives.
Oh my goodness.
Of the game. Like they had nothing. Man. They had no success. And then the Eagles kept on getting the football on like the 35-yard line. Like I think their average starting field position was like the 43-yard line.
Yeah.
It was like they just kept on getting really, really good field position and taking advantage of that field position. And their offensive line played really well. The Chiefs, had to deal with Saquon Barkley. So their entire defensive structure was, we're going to stop Saquon. They were successful in doing that. They slowed down the running attack. The problem for the Eagles, is that Jalen Hurts, the MVP of this game, he played all but 1 throw, I thought, where it was great. The interception he threw off the back foot with the DB in his face was an awful throw. But other than that, I thought Jalen Hurts was tremendous.
Oh, he was great. He had a lot of time. Guys like that have a lot of time in the NFL, they still have to make the throws, but that helps a lot. And where at some point, you're going to go off sideways about this and that with Mahomes. I think what last night proved was how great Mahomes is because he covered up a lot of problems all season. The Chiefs team really, really.
But he sucked last night.
Exceeded expectations because of Patrick Mahomes.
I'll give you that.
Andy Reid.
Yeah,
And
fine.
Andy
Yep.
Reid was looking at that play card, and I looked at him in the second half and had that feeling, or in the second
Quarter.
In the
He had
second
a
quarter,
look.
I mean, he
Yes.
was looking at that play card going,
Uh-oh.
you know what?
We're in trouble.
Sorry, Will. Oh, shit. There is nothing on this card that's going to get us to 2nd and 5.
Well,
we
that
can't
shot,
get to 2nd and 5.
That shot of him, I think the score was only like, I think it was
10-0.
10-0. I think it was 10-0. And it was a shot of Andy Reid going up and down the sidelines, talking to Mahomes and Kelsey, and the look in his face. And I was like, oh, he knows he's in trouble. Like, he knows they're not going to be able to score, and he knows that their defense is not going to stop them. Like, it was a different type of body language from Andy Reid that, like, oh no, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Mahomes' play was, that was the worst game of his career. I mean, he looked absolutely atrocious. And a lot of that had to do with the defensive line, fine. But he still made horrible throws. I mean, he still, in the first 2 series, he had Kelsey open, he threw it at his feet. He had Hopkins open over the middle, missed him. Like, he just made awful throws.
There was
just
a couple drop passes too. It wasn't all on Mahomes. It was not. It really wasn't. No matter how you want to paint it, it wasn't all on Mahomes.
It was a lot of Mahomes. It was a lot on him.
I'd rather give the other team credit.
That's fine. You can do that.
I'd rather give the other team credit.
But the Eagles defense, I mean, I would give you can absolutely look, number 1 defense. They were the best team all year. The numbers are nuts. Philadelphia went 16-1 after the bye, and they averaged winning by 17 points per game in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Like, they were the best team in football. There's no question about who the best team in football was this year. There's no question about what that team did. They dominated in the playoffs. Like, the Washington game wasn't a fluke. And this is like, I think when we're looking at history, or we're looking at teams as they enter into the playoffs, you say you always want to play your best football in the postseason. Sirianni got that team to peak at the right time. Like, whether you hated them or not.
All season. After 2-2, they peaked all season.
Yeah, after that bye week.
You still play football, and there were games where they didn't look great. They barely beat Carolina at home, and arguably would have lost that game if that guy caught that ball. But for the most part, they peaked after their bye and just did what they do. And then last night, they didn't run the ball.
Yeah.
Good teams find a way to win when you take away what they do.
Right.
Well, the Chiefs took away the run game. Well, all right, we'll pass. We'll beat you. But the thing about football is that defense can always stop you. If they find a way to stop you, you better figure out a way to make it work. And the Chiefs could not figure out anything last night.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it was interesting too, because like halfway, I think it was in the third quarter, you started to see like comparisons to other blowouts and like other games that had been really, lopsided. And, if you look at the numbers, like, I don't know how you really take a metric shot of this, but the game last night was the second least competitive game that we've seen since 2001. Like, just a really boring football game in terms of second least exciting game since 2001 in terms of excitement, big plays.
I would argue that since 2001, that Seattle and Denver Super Bowl was putrid.
Yep.
As far as competitive, and that was after 2001.
And Patriots Rams wasn't very fun. It was 13-3. Like, we've seen
that was competitive. That was fun. I thought that was great.
You like that?
Well, yeah, because it was in doubt. It wasn't. It was still like I was waiting to go. So when the game started, I was betting Philly. I was in gaming Philly. I was like, look at this. They're going down the field. Philly. And then, and Jess was distraught. And over in this house, she was like, this is bad. He can't do anything. I'm like, yeah. So as we're going up to halftime, I'm going, why? What do we try to take a middle here? At what point do we take the middle? So it's 12.5.
Okay.
And they're down
24-0.
They don't score. And now I'm like, oh boy. So when the Chiefs don't score before the half, because they're getting the ball to start the second half.
Right.
And they can keep this dream alive if they score before the half, and they don't. And now I go, yeah, okay. As soon as they didn't score with the ball to start the second half, Jess and her mom went to go get dinner.
Oh, no.
They're like, we're going to go get food now. This is over. And I'm like, you're right.
Yep.
There wasn't a point until I said I'm getting 24.5 that I thought I would take the Chiefs. Not one point during that game. So I was going to do the halftime gif if the Chiefs came down and scored before the half and go, okay, this is the dream. This is the 28-3 dream.
When it was,
but it wasn't the Falcons.
Right. I mean, the 10-0 line, I mean, the Chiefs being down 10-0, historically, that was the time to fire because they came back so consistently when they're down by 10 points. And then the 10 points grew and it kept on growing and it became 17, it became 24. And you're like, wow, wait a minute, this is getting out of hand. And then they did not score any points coming out of halftime. And you're absolutely right. That was the moment when I said, okay, this is over. I mean, the pick six was bad enough. I mean, Cooper DeJean, have a day, kid. It's his first Super Bowl. It's his first career interception. It's his first career touchdown on his birthday. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a tough one to duplicate. That's a tough one to duplicate.
What a day for that kid.
Yeah.
I mean, such a fun, and like after the game, he was talking about it and he's like, I don't even know how to celebrate. He was like, I didn't know what to do. And I don't score very often. And I mean, that's a kid from Iowa that was the heart and soul. You want to know why Iowa unders came in so consistently? That's why. There's the kid, because he was so damn good and he was so a irreplaceable player for Iowa. And last year they had no shot replacing him and their defense gave up tons more points because of it. But he would shut off half the field in college, and in the NFL, he's a steal. I mean, second round pick for the Eagles. That kid is going to be so talented and so good for them. And look, the Eagles aren't going anywhere. I mean, that is a team that is built to stick around, and they're young. Their coach is young. They got a lot of young talent, and now they got a championship to protect. I could see the Eagles being right back here in Santa Clara next year in the Super Bowl.
Oh, just think about it. 3 months ago, 4 months ago, they're ready to fire the guy.
Right.
Talking about him being this and that, and the staff and the this and the that, and is Hurts the guy. The narrative, if they would have lost today, I would have been very interested to hear if the Eagles would have lost, because blow it up.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yep.
Hurts is fun. He's good.
Yep.
He can't win. All of these things would have been said today. Exactly by everybody. And instead, we're talking about a team that had a really good run the year before, got to the playoffs and was beat up and got waxed in the playoffs. The year before that, they lost in the Super Bowl to this same Chiefs team. And then they won the Super Bowl this year handily. I mean, ass whooping. That was.
Is there a better story in the last 20 years than Jalen Hurts?
I don't think so. I don't know about 20 years, but I know recently, and the way he's handled it.
I mean, think about it.
Everybody's wondering, what the hell is this guy thinking? And he says he talks in,
Code.
hyperboles and all kind of other things, but he's doing it.
Jalen Hurts was benched at half of the national championship game, and Tua Tagovailoa comes in and leads Alabama to the national championship. Jalen Hurts then transfers to Oklahoma, where he wins the Heisman Trophy. He doesn't win the national championship, but he goes in he's under Lincoln Riley, and everybody thinks that it's Lincoln Riley and not Jalen Hurts. He then goes to Philadelphia, where he has to fight for his job. They don't think he's the guy, but eventually they give him the job, kind of a de facto gives him the job. Takes his team to the Super Bowl and loses the Super Bowl. And everybody says Jalen Hurts won't win. Jalen Hurts can't do this. The next year, Jalen Hurts has a ton of questions. As you mentioned, teams all banged up. They don't do well. They don't hit where they're supposed to hit. Then the next year he comes back. They give him a defense. He gets a running game with Saquon Barkley. Now he's got two wideouts and a tight end to throw to, and he's extremely accurate. And he goes and wins the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's a pretty damn good story over 5 years, 6 years?
Not to mention the guys in the chat are saying it about Howie Roseman and the job that he did.
Yeah, executive of the year. Yeah, I would agree with Blue Span on that.
They drafted at the back of the draft.
Yeah. So
you're able to do that drafting. You don't have to be bad and take the first, second, or third overall pick. You're getting the 28th, 29th, 30th, 31, or 32 pick, and you're doing it. It's pretty good. I mean, it's the whole thing from top to bottom is beyond impressive. And they are the odds-on favorite to win it all next year. It's already done. It's out. I mean, he didn't win the Heisman.
When he was Heisman finalist, he was the finalist for the Heisman. I mean, he put up huge numbers at Oklahoma. I mean, his numbers were monster.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think he was, at least was a finalist for the Heisman Trophy. But I mean, I think I like it better.
I got the text today. The Steelers drafted Chase Claypool instead of Jalen Hurts.
Damn. Yeah. He was questioned. I mean, I like it better than the Kurt Warner story. And I love the Kurt Warner story. Kurt Warner story is incredible. I mean, the guy's stocking shelves at Hy-Vee, in Iowa, playing with the Iowa Barnstormers, playing in arena football. I love that story. I don't know. I think Jalen Hurts is, even though adversity, obviously, Warner, what he did was incredible, Hall of Fame career, and we'll see where Jalen Hurts winds up. It's just crazy to see a guy with the adversity that he has gone through on the biggest of stages, and he's fine. He doesn't talk. He doesn't say much. He's not, an inflammatory guy. But he could be. I mean, but in today's world, he could have been pissed off. I mean, think about if he was, a guy who wanted to go on TikTok and go and blast his team and be like, why did I get benched? This is bullshit. I'm taking off. I'm going to Oklahoma, and then go put up big numbers at Oklahoma and say, I told you, look what I'm doing. He didn't do any of that. He's kept his head down, kept his mouth shut, just went ahead and just did what he was supposed to do, leading his team, in multiple ways, leading by example, also on the field by his performance. And yet, because he doesn't say those brash things, teams or fan bases tend to feel like he may not be the guy. And now he's got a ring on his finger. Now he's got a championship.
And those guys play with him and for him. And that's all you want as the person in that position, as the leader of the team. He's so humble. Like, he doesn't care about his stats. Find kids today that don't care about their stats. It's pretty tough. Rare. It's pretty tough. And now the way colleges football, you better care about your stats because that's going to get you paid. So you have to be selfish to get paid. Well, what about if we win? Well, it's because of the coaching staff. Oh, it's because of the system. Oh, it's because of this. So they use it against you. So all you can do is prove to yourself and your teammates, let's go win this thing. And they did. I mean, he was second in the Heisman voting to Joe Burrow when Burrow won it. So, he lost the job to Tua at Bama, figured it out, moved on. Benched. Right? So it happens. If you keep going, sometimes it works and sometimes you're out of the league. Like, it's one or the other. Somebody called me today and said, Dave, how's it going? I said, I'm one step away from driving for Uber Eats, and I'm one step away from a big deal for the show. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's literally, I feel like you're that close. That's the way you could go this way. If he don't win that game, he could be yesterday,
out. Fair.
Legit.
Well, flip it around.
Talk shows today are going, well, one, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback ever, and two, the opposite side of it, who are the Eagles going to start a quarterback next year?
I would agree with you. If you flip the stories, right? Flip the score, flip the stories. You're absolutely right. If Mahomes' stats were Jalen Hurts' stats, Jalen Hurts is probably being replaced in Philadelphia. It's crazy. He's out. Like, Philly's like, you got us there, thank you, but let's go get a real quarterback who's going to get us over the hump, who's going to win the game for us. Not someone's going to throw 2 interceptions and fumble the ball and give the opposing team 21 points.
Yeah.
100%. You're absolutely right. And that's just kind of crazy to stop and think about that, about where Jalen, how tedious this is, how fragile this is for him in terms of what he must be going through in his brain. Because it was a great shot of him in the locker room last night where he's sitting down, the Lombardi trophies between his legs. He's smoking a cigar and he's just staring at the trophy and he's just shaking his head. And he's like in disbelief that this happened, because through his mind, he must be thinking, what the fuck are they going to say now? Like, what people like me, what am I going to say now about Jalen Hurts, about him? You can't take this away. What he's accomplished, the win here cements his legacy. And he's the quarterback now in Philadelphia for, however, 5, 6, 7 years. He is the starting quarterback now. And it gives longevity to Sirianni. It gives longevity to a lot of these players who will then be able to go and get bigger contracts. And the Eagles have, we mentioned it before, the young talent that they've got on rookie contracts is huge. They got a lot of young kids that are not making big money yet. That lets them go and become really interesting soon.
No doubt. I think we'll see a lot of the narratives turn. People are going to say what they want. And, you can just, in those situations, go, hold on a second. I can't hear you. My ring is too big. I can't hold the phone up to my ear, or you could show up like Bill did at these award ceremonies wearing 8 and they go, hey, Bill, what are you doing with your hair, buddy? Like, what are you doing with a 27-year-old? And he goes, hold on. What'd you say? Yeah. Like, so you don't even have to address the questions. And I think he's a model, an absolute model for answering reporters' questions. I mean, because like we've had Kincaid on, we've had Brace on, we've had a lot of guys that live and work in the market in Philly. They're looking for a reason to take you down, even when you win.
Right.
When you lose, forget it. You got no shot. That's a good question. I just saw it in the chat from Football Guy 97. Kellen Moore is out.
Correct. Head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
So think about this guy. Interviews, gets the job to coach the Saints, and then goes and wins the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Now, does this affect, how do you keep the continuity? Because the Lions' whole staff is gone.
Correct.
The main guy that kept the main thing with Jalen Hurts is gone.
Yeah.
Is Philly susceptible to taking a step back?
Of course. Without a doubt. But I think
Washington right on the cusp of, Washington beat them. Well, they only had 2 losses all season, and Washington beat them once.
And look, this is the problem for the Chiefs, okay? The league, the number of teams that are going to be considering themselves contenders to win it all next year, it's growing. A lot of them feel like next year is their year. It's crazy, too, by the way. The Eagles championship, now the only division in the NFL where every team has won at least 2 championships is the NFC East. It's pretty interesting. Now that they've won 2 rings.
Yeah. Giants, Washington, Philly, Dallas. And Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the greatest in terms of championships. It's the greatest division in the NFL, in NFL history of the 59 championships. So that division is going to be very difficult. We've talked about this before. Every year, a different team wins the division. Every year since 2000, I believe it is. Every year, a different team has won the division. Dallas won it last year. Philly wins it this year. Who wins it next year? Could be Washington. Washington may win the division next year. So it's really hard to repeat, like we've talked about. It's really hard to, dominate your division every year, especially in that division with how topsy-turvy it is. So yes, I think the Kellen Moore, losing him could be problematic, but he was a passing guy who turned into a run-first coordinator because he had Saquon Barkley. It's not a good coach, right? Call your team to their strengths. So get somebody in there who's a run-first guy. We'll see what, or Sirianni may go. He talked about it in the pregame, saying, I had to give up calling plays because I need to do everything. I couldn't just micromanage. Yeah. Does he go back to calling plays? Does he say, okay, if Kellen's gone, then I'm going to come back? Or does he have somebody else in mind to come in and run the plays for the Eagles? So that's a great question. I think it's a bigger deal to me with the Lions because they've lost their offensive and defensive line coach. So they lost 3 big guys. Let's see how many Eagles coaches wind up leaving. They've lost 1 so far.
Over the past 3 years, they've lost them all. Almost nobody from the first staff.
But Vic Fangio's back. So
correct. So you can replace a guy and Fangio comes in and does what he does. I don't know. Success in the NFL is a really fleeting thing now. It's really
always has been. Yeah.
But it's faster now than ever because guys used to stay with teams and you could have a down year and they didn't blow everybody out. There could be an 8-8 season.
Oh, Jack's saying that they're hiring. It's Trent is his avatar.
Jeez, Jack Hoff. What did you do? You buried Trent. Tremendous. Trent's 0 for 6 in his sports betting career, betting the Super Bowl. He walked around in the Chiefs stuff in New Orleans. Poor Trent. I love Trent. Not bad.
Hiring Shane Waldron. Okay, I like that. Yeah. That's a good hire. Okay. That's a good offensive coordinator. I like that.
Good coaches are made by good players, but you have to listen and understand what you have and be willing to change sometimes. The Eagles are a model for it. You know, he don't understand that he can't, he has to let go of calling the plays.
Yeah.
Sirianni does. Okay. Kellen Moore says, well, I like to pass the ball more. And they're like, apparently the offensive line went to him and said, do you understand? We are going to run the ball. We got this guy who can take it to the house on every play. All we need to do is give him a little opening. We need to run the ball more.
Oh.
All right, let's run the ball more. And then boom.
Come on, Jack. Come on now, Jack. You got to get it right. Thank Nikki. Shane Waldron's not going to Philly. He was hired by the Jags. Chat's 0 for 1.
Guys, if you're going to get on the screen, either have a really good avatar and
like
something
that.
fun to say.
Pretty good. That was pretty good.
Or be accurate. Yeah, Jack, we're not bad rapping you at all. I mean, I was joking.
Good.
He said, I'm joking, by the way. BTW.
Oh.
If you're joking,
don't do that. There is no
say you're joking.
Font. Yeah, there is no font that tells us you're joking. So just FYI.
Fake news.
On fake news. This is kind of interesting. 11-0 teams without a bye versus teams who had a bye in the Super Bowl.
Man.
We've only played 59 games, 11-0. And teams going west have now won 9 straight Super Bowls.
Close the ESPN on your computer, please, because you're lagging. Something.
You're I see you lagging.
We're both lagging now. They're trying to take us down. Something on StreamYard's taking us out. Let's acknowledge the fact real quick. let's acknowledge the fact that your smoke alarms are going off. Everybody
100%,
is very
and they won't stop. They won't stop.
And driving Matt crazy.
I literally every single smoke detector now is without a battery in my house. I have 8 of them in my house. They're all pulled down. They're all hanging from the ceiling. Every battery has been removed, and they're all still chirping. So my only recourse is to go replace 8 batteries later tonight. I'll replace all the batteries, and then if it still has a problem, call somebody and say, my house is making me go crazy. I need you guys to fix this now, because
immediately
I had 1 that was chirping, which was outside of the door. Now I have 8 that are like systematically chirping throughout the entire house. So you may hear 1, you may hear it louder, just because it's where it is, the positioning of where it is in the house.
There goes the fire department sponsorship.
It's
well
fine.
done, Linus.
Yes.
That's outstanding. This is I don't know, coincidence. It's a hell of a coincidence. Will you bet it next time?
I don't
because
know.
Of that thing.
I don't know, but it's a pretty wild. This is wild. I mean, this is one of those type stats. 11-0 is 11-0. It's different. It's, it's one of those things where I might go, all right, factor it in a little bit. Don't do it. Don't bet blindly on it, but maybe put into it just a little bit. The dominant Eagles defense, fueled by Chiefs three-peat talk. After the game, this was a big talk about the Eagles. They didn't like that there was a three-peat chat going on amongst Chief reporters, media, national media, and whatnot. Do you think the Chiefs, we got a little bit too far ahead of ourselves with this three-peat talk?
I think the Chiefs downplayed it. The Chiefs were pretty good about saying during the week, it's another game. We want to, we're chasing history, but we're trying to win on Sunday. And the media made it a bigger deal, and that's what the media does. And if it fueled the Eagles, that's great. But I don't think the Eagles were thinking about that as they were just running by and sacking Mahomes 6 times like this. 42 times, that says, sacked 6 times, and the most he was ever sacked. That was 16 QB pressures. You know what that does to you, too?
Yeah, makes you scared out of your mind.
Well, now everything's rushed. Everything is rushed. So you don't have the time to do a longer developing play. So you drop back and you're like, okay, nope. Oh, this pressure's going to come up from over here. So I'm going to do this. And the play is done. And passes are bad.
It's 1-17 now. The team with the higher win percentage against the spread is 1-17 in the Super Bowls.
The team with a better ATS record?
No, better winning percentage.
Oh, okay.
The team with the better winning percentage is 1-17 ATS now in the Super Bowl. So, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that regular season success doesn't always translate into playoff success.
Yeah.
Because the tournament's different, because the way maybe you were really good in the regular season, injuries happen in the playoffs, you run out of gas, you're not peaking at the right time. I think that makes a lot of sense to me. I will use that, in future in future Super Bowls. I think that does matter into the handicap, because I do think it does. How you're playing in the playoffs, impressive. Like what that team is doing. They got their Giants, for instance, both their championships with the way they were playing. They weren't great in the regular season. They lost to the Patriots in both those regular season matchups. Rematch, they won. Teams in rematches often have played well as well in Super Bowls. So like it's tough to beat a team twice. I just think it's I'm really happy for Philadelphia. I'm happy for Howie Roseman, because I think it cements his legacy. I mean, Jeffrey Lurie is a Boston guy, and it has done a lot of really great things in the autism community, and it has been a leader for a lot of people who have looked at him and said, okay, that's a guy who really is giving back a lot. So, he's considered one of the quote good guys of the owners. And so to see him win that championship last night was really cool. I hope Philadelphia doesn't have any craziness. I mean, I saw the shots of Broad Street last night. It was crazy. Like, hopefully we don't have anything nasty happening at the parade, but Philly's going to throw down. Like, he is going to throw down.
Well, I mean, it's exciting. It's their second Super Bowl win ever, and it's fun, and they should celebrate, and they were dominant. I mean, there's nothing to take away from it other than we were the best team. And, I love the day after and the beating of the chest. And like I said, like in the book, like guys come in on their tiptoes to cash out all their tickets. And I told you so. And I knew this. That's awesome. What are you going to do now? I mean, give me a winner tonight. It's over. New Orleans is playing OKC. And the line is, what is it? 17? It should be. Oh, still got it. 17. There you go.
I think a lot of people did pretty well. I mean, I went 6-2. A lot of people did well in that game. I think a lot
of people had the Chiefs too.
True.
You can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You can't bet against this. Which one am I going to feel better about? On Monday if it loses. I got a call. It's funny. My phone was buzzing all day yesterday. I did the show with Moose in the morning, and we talked about us and this show and all these other things. And I said, Moose, I know you're busy during the day, but if you were watching BVB all week, we'd have told you that the Eagles were going to win. And I still think that. So the Eagles are going to win. And
I knew it, but you've seen this. When I pick against the Chiefs, I've been really bad. So I finally got one right.
Right.
Against the Chiefs.
Yeah. But we talked about all the different props, and we got most of them right. And that's great. But I really felt strongly about it. It would have been great to come on here today. I got the Chiefs outfit all ready to go. Yeah. I put it away for the rest of the year. I don't have to worry about the Chiefs, hat, sweatshirt. Jess was in it yesterday. She was wearing all my stuff. And by the third quarter, she was like, I'm done. That's it. I don't want to talk about it, think about it. It's over.
Some of the prop bets, if you guys are curious, the under hit for the national anthem, which was wild because John Batiste added 3 lines to the song, which was like, wait, what? Green.
I got a text that was when we did that. We did that. You pulled up the MGM props or something on here.
Yep.
I called the Gatorade. I didn't even know I did.
Oh, I think you did. You said green. You did.
I called the Gatorade
because you said I like Philly, so I'm going to go with green.
Right.
Green, yellow was the color of the Gatorade. So yes, you got the Gatorade right.
The Gatorade right.
Under came in on the national anthem. Coin flip was tails. So the
tails never fails. How could that lose?
Won $71,000 and $20,000 were the 2 biggest bets that were placed on tails, and they both cashed.
Insanity.
And they both cashed.
Insanity.
Which was wild. Dallas Goedert was everyone's favorite. You heard that all week. He went over on the yardage, but under on his receptions.
Did he go over on the yardage? I don't think he did. I think he went under. How many yards did he have?
I thought he went over because Jalen Hurts
went under.
Because Hurts went over. I mean, I
don't think he had 50 yards receiving.
Oh, okay.
How many yards, guys? Look it up in the chat. How many yards did Goddard have receiving?
I'll tell you right now.
Because I didn't look.
He ended up with, you're right, 27. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 20-yarder. That one long catch for 20. I mean, Hurts, I bet over 199.5 for Jalen Hurts passing. That came in. Shortest touchdown came in. Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown. I had 2 plays where I cashed 2 bets on it because going over the 199 when they threw it deep to Smith, to Devontae Smith, that went over Smith's yardage. That was anytime touchdown for Smith, and it was over on yardage for Jalen Hurts. And that was sort of a bleep you play. Like that was like a wow. That was nuts that throw actually got they actually threw the ball deep on a 50-yard bomb, which was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Bro.
I mean, all the geniuses had over 2.5 people to throw a pass.
Yep.
And no, it did. Pickett got in and threw a pass.
Oh, that's right. It
over
did.
Over 2.5 people cashed. So
and the rushing too, over 2.5 rushes because he took a knee. That cashed too.
Over 3.5 people carried the ball for the Eagles. It was the number was 3.5. Because it was Saquon, Gainwell,
Hurts. Okay, and then
Pickett.
Yep,
so
as well.
How you got there is fine. But again, there's a lot of people. I went on that super stream with Captain Jack, and there was a lot of people that had the Chiefs. I mean, and they're all very, very smart people. They all had the Chiefs. There was only 5 people that got both their side / or total right and their prop. I was lucky to be one of them. I mean, I thought the first touchdown would be a rushing touchdown. That was plus 110.
That
versus the first touchdown of the game will be a passing touchdown or any other. Took any other. It
rushing.
Won.
Yep.
The only one that was a crusher for me was the 48.5 longest field goal made of the game.
You went under?
Went under, and it was under because there was 2 47s. There was 2 47s, which got really lucky.
And then
if you had
flag.
there was 2 48s. I'm sorry.
Yes. 48.5. Opening number was 48.5. It had bet down to 47.5.
Right.
But he had 2 48-yard field goals that went over the 47.5 and under 48.5. And then they got the flag at 45. Moved it back to 50.
And
he hit it.
Yeah.
And he hit it.
Oh, so Addison had under 49.5. That's
even worse. That's bad. I mean, how about the damn, someone needs to explain. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but this is where I was like, let's see if somebody asked. Nobody asked. At least I haven't seen it yet, but this is where gambling comes in and gambling changes the game. So I teased it 55 and went under, right? So we're sitting at 54. Kenny Pickett comes into the game. It's 4th down and 5. The game's out of hand. There's no need to run a play there. You can punt and pin the Chiefs down deep. There's no need to throw the ball and risk an interception or risk a turnover, a pick 6 or something if you're the Eagles. They were so unafraid by the Chief defense that they decided to throw the football there. They turn over on downs, and the next play, Mahomes throws a 50-yard bomb to Worthy. That was the play. I was like, what are we doing? Just punt the football, pin them down inside the 10-yard line, play defense. Your defense is giving up nothing. They're not going 90 yards on you guys. That play was you want to talk conspiracy theory? There's my conspiracy theorist going what the hell was that play call on 4th down? Why would you have Kenny Pickett throw the football? People were like, you're trying to get Pickett a passing
yeah,
yard.
Trying to just, keep the ball. And
that too.
The ball there, and you let him throw. He gets a pass attempt. Kenny Pickett, 1 Super Bowl win in 3 years. Mike Tomlin, how many in 15 years?
Ouch. That's mean.
That's mean. That's not nice. What is that?
Yeah, I was like, man, that stinks. So I should have gone the other way, kind of gone 42 and gone over. And then
he was talking about the score bug. Did the score bug have you as upset as it had people on social media?
It didn't upset me because I'm 47 years old. So I remember what it looked like in the 80s. So to me, it was like they're trying to do a throwback. It was embarrassing. It looked awful. I didn't understand why they would roll that out for the Super Bowl and have it be like, ooh, look at this new thing. It looked awful. But, I mean, I don't really get upset about what's on the screen like that. Okay, whatever. Time and score. That's all I need. I remember when that's all there was time and score.
Timeouts. I like to see the timeouts, too. I've been conditioned to see the timeouts on the score bug.
Oh, they weren't on there. That's right.
That's nice to see that. So I don't want to have to know at the end of the half or do the thing. It looked like a Microsoft Paint score bug, Joe the Fat Panda. Yeah. Listen, sometimes, again, change is, for the better. Sometimes change is for the sake of change, which I tried to reach out to Bill Maher to have him come on the show to talk to us about, his
Bill Maher. Yes, his rant. Sound like Dave. You haven't seen Bill Maher's rant about streaming services? Go check it out. It sounds like Dave. Dave's had a very similar rant.
Well, it's actually, I'm one of millions of people that have had the same rant. I mean, there's a lot of, things that come with streaming that suck. And he talked about all of them. I think if you're changing something to make it better, that's great. Not everybody's going to like it. That's great too. The score bug didn't bother me. I don't know. I
But
watched
you
the game
remember
with enjoyment. Like
you were,
I remember when there was no score bug.
yes, right. We're old enough to remember that when that score bug, it looked like that. Like it literally looked like something you would have seen in the 80s. Like it looked like a 85 Patriots Bears score bug.
Yeah.
Like it just was very basic and very, not like Fox normally goes. Fox normally is like the robot and like all these, remember Fox track with hockey. Like they normally are like trying to lead the pack when it comes to that type of stuff, not go back. And that's why I was like, whatever. Okay. Does it have time score? Yes. All right. I don't like how it changed so much. I was like, wait, what down is it? What distance is it?
Right.
Like, I wasn't a fan of that. It was too confusing when I was watching it.
It's for information, not aesthetics. Like, just tell me what the score is,
yeah.
how much time's left, and how many timeouts has each team got. That's all you need. Santana score bug was ugly. Ugly. That's fine. I mean, we've been accused of being boomers. Did you see that over the weekend?
He's coming on. Elf coming on.
I can't wait to have this elf kid on.
Later in the week, he's coming on.
And to that guy in fucking Idaho that's worried about the way I dress, I'd like you to come on the show too.
There's a guy in Idaho who's coming.
There's a guy in Idaho that said this mafia wannabe guy, the way he dresses, start dressing your age.
Okay.
I saw it.
I didn't
reply to it, but it's my show. You can come on my show. I'll come on your show and I'll dress appropriately for your show. But geez, I mean, come at us for all these things. It was great. Like
calling us boomers. That's why I had to write back to him and said, okay, I'm 47 days, 53. We're not boomers, dude. Like, come on now. Like at least get the age right a little bit.
Listen,
you got to be 60 or more.
Over 25, everybody's a boomer.
I guess
We're old heads.
That's fine. Call me old. You call me old all you want. That's fine. You're 23, 24, but Mafia Dave. Oh, yeah. So if that kid, if you guys haven't referenced the late night Twitter spaces as to what's going on, the guy who hosts it is going to come on the show later in the week. So,
of course,
should
it's
be quite
be great. I can't wait to talk to him about what he's doing. Yeah, no, he was.
Well, in his bio, it says he's won $200,000 betting sports in the last year. So,
what are we doing? I'm trying to get sponsorships to talk about the show, so we can still keep going and doing the show.
Right.
Yeah.
He's making, So according to him, he's made $200,000 betting on sports. So this is going to be fun to have him on to find out his process and to kind of how he does it and where he does it and all the fun stuff. So looking forward to. And I've told him like this is not going to be an attack interview. It's going to be very cordial. We just would like to have a conversation about what you are hosting. And he's been now watching the show. He's clipping the show and posting the show. So he's making actual, like he put the show into a little AI machine to come up with the what do you call it? The transcription is now. Yeah. So he's actually doing production for the show, which I appreciate because I do it too. So
which I love.
Thank you for spending the time. So
yeah, football guy 97. Are these Mo Green glasses? I need these are Uncle Junior glasses.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we'll go with this route right now, but I'll get whatever glasses you guys want. It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do anyway. Right. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt that says I'm just here so I don't get fined. This is one of my favorite shirts. Marshawn said it. When I met him and I said, "You got a store?" He's like, "Yeah, it's upstairs." I met him at Mandalay Bay. I went in the store, I bought 3 shirts. Didn't ask for a discount, just bought them. So I wore the shirt because I see you ranting on this freaking social media and talking about this. And we're going to talk about this guy and his where he stands and all this other crap. You're making a big deal about this.
What? Him?
Mahomes and blah, 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 and Brady and all this other stuff. I thought Brady was okay yesterday on the broadcast. No?
I don't understand why awful announcing went at him the way they went at him. They really took a hatchet job to him. They said Brady was there. That's about it. Like that was the best you could say about Tom Brady, that he was there.
I love a lot of things on awful announcing, but when they get a bug up their ass for somebody, like they do it, and sometimes it's just to get clicks. Because I don't know.
Think that, how do you call a blowout? Like it's the hardest.
It's the hardest thing to do.
Every broadcaster will tell you the hardest thing to do is when the game is lopsided. I mean, Brady made reference to, I think, every single Super Bowl he had been in his life. Like he's just trying, and Burkhart's doing his best to try to be entertaining. This is the biggest broadcast of the year, the biggest audience that Fox will have throughout the entire year. And the game is absolute trash. It's 24-0 at halftime. It's 40-6. When it's 40-6, what exactly is Tom Brady supposed to say? Like, you're stuck. Like, you don't know how to call a game like that because no one knows how to call a game like that.
Do you know how to do it? And if anybody's watching, this
stories?
one's free.
Like
No,
him?
well, that's the number one is just tell stories. But this one's free for the consulting. And
Okay.
you can reach out to me at sportsbcakeinsig@gmail.com or ask the bvb@gmail.com. That's to the show. That other one is to me directly. So if anybody's watching or has any questions, send me an email. I don't check it, and I'll get to it when I fucking get to it. But I'm just telling you right now. You know what you could talk about? You could talk about D-Hop catching that touchdown and cashing a 6.5 to 1. If you're prepared in the space, I understand. But he's got to have somebody in his ear
telling him.
Make it. I flew to Pittsburgh to do an in-game show for the Pirates and the Yankees.
Right.
The game was 16-0. 16-0. The Yankees won. The producers and the people watching the show to then pitch it to MLB Network were on the edge of their seats in the 9th inning of a 16-0 game because we were talking about stuff like that.
Right.
Somebody just came in a chat and said they had D-Hop over 2.5 receptions. His third reception came on a 2-point conversion. It doesn't count. How would you know that? Ask somebody who might work in a book.
I know, but you're talking out of both sides of your mouth on this, though, because you've been long on this point that people don't care about the gambling, that people don't bet.
But if you need something to – who's watching that game
I agree with you. 100%.
Gamblers only.
Gambler had the over, 100%. Who had the over, people who had the prop bets. I completely agree with you. It's
you can't do that on a random Tuesday or a Tennessee Jacksonville game that's complete crap 10-6 and nobody's watching in late November.
Right.
But you can do that in the Super Bowl. We're grasping. It was pretty obvious to us watching at home, to wherever you're at. That game was going to be a blowout. I would have been. They got enough people in the staff. We got enough people in the chat. Hey, ask them about this. Hey, send them this. Build a graphic right now about the total. It's 40-6. Closed in Vegas, 48.5. This is pretty big, huh?
Yeah.
Mention it.
I agree. And some, I would say probably 5% to 10% of the announcers do make some reference. Al Michaels is famous for saying, well, that's important to some, or that is insignificant to some.
Those days are over, though, P-Roll.
Correct. Just say it outright.
They're putting it in our face every day.
But the announcers are. It's the one last little, you're absolutely right. It's the one place where in the broadcast, it's all on the periphery. It's all around the broadcast booth. It's not in the booth. Bringing it into the booth, you and I have had these talks on air and off air, that there should be somebody that could point that out. If you're going to have a rules expert, well, why not have somebody that you could come in and have a conversation about what
I'll fucking do it.
Right. Have some reference to say, hey, did you know this, this, and this? That play is a significant moment because of this, because of that. And in the Super Bowl, it's the one place we talked to Doug Kazarian on Friday about this, that now you can talk about gambling. It's no longer in the big game, the Super Bowl. It used to be sort of like your get out of jail free card. You had carte blanche to talk gambling one game out of the year. Well, now we're always talking about gambling. So why not accentuate that in a blowout setting, have different potential prop bets that might be of interest, right?
They put their prop bets up in the pregame.
But not
everybody had a pregame.
I agree, but it's not in the booth. My point is, let's now put it in the booth. Like, let's actually put this into the booth.
If you build graphics and every commercial is sponsored by this book or that book or this book, you need something to talk about. The only people watching that game in the fourth quarter, my wife loves the Chiefs, loves Patrick Mahomes and all the things about it. She went to get dinner in the third quarter. I ain't watching this no more. I ain't watching it. Only people we're watching, we're going, am I going to get the over? I'm getting texts. My phone is blowing up. I need this to happen. What do you think? I don't know. I'm watching a game like you. I don't know. I'm watching the end game. It went up to 52.5, and I thought, all right, there ain't going to be no more field goals, but that's a good number because it's 40-6. So a touchdown here scores. Well, the final score, it was way over that number. It went way over the alt numbers. I don't know.
It's some in the chat bringing up the UFC because John Anik bets. The reason why John Anik brings it up,
he understands.
He bets
stuff.
So Anik gambles, so he can bring it up when he's saying this fighter went off as a $3 favorite, and now this fighter gets upset, or like he has a working knowledge of most sports books closing number was, or the total was 2.5 rounds, and this thing went way over, went all the way to the cards. Like,
and if he gets somebody in his ear
to talk about it, right?
And they bring it up. They understand that there's that audience, the UFC audience, if it's on average 10 to 15% bet for UFC, what do you think it is?
35 to 40
minimum. I was going to say close to half.
Yeah.
Ask the chat.
They at least know that
watching UFC. How many people do you think that watch UFC bet? I think the number's 50%.
I would say of the people who have a working knowledge of what the numbers are, I would say 80. I think most people know the numbers. They may not actually put money down on it, but they know the number. They know who's favored.
Fair. Okay.
They know who's favored. They know what the line is in terms of rounds. So, that they would look like, what's the submission prop? Like people who are betting UFC understand the differences because combat sports and boxing, that's gambling, like horse racing, boxing, combat sports. Like this is what really caused us to become gamblers to begin with. So most people who are attracted to combat sports want to get involved.
Look at the chat. Enrique Villanueva, no shot people watch UFC without betting. LOL. I know I wouldn't. Joe the Fat Panda says, I only watch UFC if I'm going to bet it.
Oh, wow.
Onler says the only reason to watch it. J Dow Bet says guilty.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have a dime on UFC 312 on Saturday night, but I watched the whole main card.
Was it okay?
No.
It was bad. It was everything you said it would be.
Yeah.
It was as bad as it was advertised. Okay.
It was just like, it was on. Like, it was on. I wasn't like, we'll talk about the main event in a second, but
okay.
It was one of the most gruesome injuries I've seen in a long time, and cringed every time the guy got hit. Strickland got hit, but I think I can watch it because I like it, but it's more fun when you have money on it. Obviously, it's more but
I don't think
you're a
there's
diehard.
any reason to not. I mean, like it's okay to not bet. Like there's so many people that are like coming out now because football season's over. So everybody's coming at people. And, we'll talk to Elf about this, about the spaces and like, well, you don't bet enough. You don't bet high enough. You don't even know what you're talking about when you say it. Right. Shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. You can have your rep all you want. That's great. Keep making money doing it. Yeah. But don't put people down for that other stuff.
Well, gambling is such that this is something that in the space, and we've talked about this, and we'll talk to Alpha about this, but like the idea that you have to place a certain amount of money down to have your opinion means more if you put more money down. It's the dumbest thing ever. Like it just means you put money down. Like you have more money to give or more money to lose or more money to give to the sports books. Like it doesn't mean you're more right or going to be more right consistently just because you have a bigger bankroll. Like picking a game is picking a game. Like it doesn't really matter how much money you put down.
I would give more credit to the guy that has $20 in his pocket and betting $5 a game. He's only got 3 games to bet. Otherwise, he ain't eating lunch.
Fair.
If he goes 0 for 4, he's going without food.
Yep.
So you can equate it to however you want. The money and the units, all that other stuff. Now you got this graphic up here, and I got my listening glasses ready for this Brady versus Mahomes GOAT debate. Is dead. Pat's dynasty is safe as well. Nobody gives a shit except you Patriot people. When you become a Boston media guy.
That is so not true.
That
is so not true. Being a Boston media guy, definitely on that. I'll give you that. But to say that no one cares except for Patriot fans, Dan Wetzel has a whole article today about Tom Brady's legacy. Has a whole big, huge thing on it today.
It's not. That's right. What is he going to talk about today? Is he going to talk about the Celtics playing at Miami today?
Sure. Why not?
Or is he going to talk about Tom Brady's legacy?
Well, because it's after the Super Bowl and Brady just called the game. But it's a beautiful thing for people on RI. It's justification because Mahomes sucked last night. Brady has never sucked like that. Brady has 3 losses by a total of 15 points. Tom Brady never, ever looked like Mahomes looked like yesterday. Ever in a game, in a playoff game, in a Super Bowl. You never saw that level of inept play. He for 3 quarters.
His last game in New England was pretty bad.
That's fine, but it wasn't in the playoffs. It wasn't a situation where you had Tom Brady, in terms of Super Bowl Tom Brady.
Game? His last game in New England when he was just terrible. He couldn't throw the ball no more. He was getting hit.
I can't remember. Same problem that Mahomes had, no offensive line.
No offensive line.
It wasn't a Super Bowl.
Nobody to catch the ball.
It wasn't a Super Bowl. And Mahomes got people to catch the ball.
It's a home playoff game, I think. I think they lost the last.
Not a shock. It could be. It definitely could be. But it's got nothing to do with Brady's legacy.
Yeah.
3-2, okay, is now what Mahomes is. He's been blown out in 2 losses. Both losses blown out. Brady lost 3 games by 15 points.
Yeah.
Brady left the field 2 times with the lead, and the defense blew it. Like, the conversation never should have happened to begin with. It was dumb from the get-go. It was embarrassing to have it because somehow Chief fans twisted their brains around to think that, well, 4 would have been 7, so that's why we're having a conversation. Well, now it's 3-2 to 7-3. Like, let's talk about it. I said it before. Let's have it later.
The chat is, give the kids a poll right now. Do you care about this? Yes or no? Do you care about the GOAT talk? Just ask our chat because they watch the show. Brady owns Mahomes, whether he's in the booth or on the field. That's fine. How well. Brady was 3-2 after his 5th Super Bowl.
Correct.
So he went 3-2 in a stretch. So that's possible. It was a playoff game against the Titans. Brady's last pass, thank you, Deuce Staley, was a pick 6.
That I knew. Yeah. But look, I think Patrick
Mahomes
looked
that bad.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes has passed Joe Montana yet.
He's 30 years old. Who gives a shit?
Forget Tom Brady. He hasn't passed Joe Montana yet. I'm with you. Who gives a shit? I'm with you on that point. That's an important conversation because everyone seems to want to have this where you want to rush Mahomes and you want to rush the Chiefs in this dynasty bullshit that they've had. The Patriots dynasty is so much more impressive, so much longer, so much more dominant over a 20-year period. But Chief fans wanted to rush it so desperately because they hated the Patriots and they hated Brady for so long. And they hated Belichick for so long. I told you this before. My displeasure of the Chiefs and disliking Kansas City was before Mahomes was ever drafted. I've had this for a very long time. It's the same shit that they did with the Royals. This is a weird city. For whatever reason, they get so tied up in rushing and jumping ahead that they don't see what's right in front of their face and going, wait a minute, can we talk about this when they're done? Why are we talking about this now? And you get people like Nick Wright, who's out there, who's from Kansas City, who's a Chief fan, who's on national media, who pushes this over and over again about how amazing Mahomes is and how far ahead he is of Tom Brady and how it's not even a conversation that Mahomes is the best player of all time. It's nuts. It's absolutely insane because Brady never looked like that ever in a playoff game, in a Super Bowl game. Never. They had 23 yards and 24 points given up. That's what they had in the first half.
Pretty good defense. That's a pretty good defense.
And Brady didn't go up against good defenses. He went up against Spagnuolo defenses with the Giants, and he put up numbers. He lost by a single score. Both those games were lost on single scores to Spags' defenses.
Yeah.
So
now style points, how you lose is important.
It was not style points. They're down 40-6. That's not style points.
Yeah,
they had nothing.
They had
zero offense. They had zero. Everything that Mahomes
Brady lost that game 17-14, didn't he?
Yeah. That's a really
the defense kept them in the game. Yeah.
Both defenses played well, but that's a tight game.
Right. Because of the defense. That had nothing to do with
out of the game after the first quarter. Pick 6. He threw a pick 6. It was 17-0. Game over. That's not Mahomes. Come on now. That's Mahomes.
He threw a pick. Yeah, but
he threw a pick.
Your Brady argument is that he lost close. Yeah, because the Patriots defense was really good and kept them in the game.
Really good.
They didn't do anything in that game. They were fucking 18-0.
Tom Brady threw 500 yards in a loss. 500 yards in a loss.
And lost.
He threw 500 yards in a loss. Think about how impressive that is. Mahomes couldn't even get a first down. His first 9 possessions didn't have a single first down in the game last night.
Amazing.
That's on Mahomes.
So that makes him that much better. That's awesome.
Oh, it's not even. It wasn't even a debate before it, but now it's dead. What I love about the argument, what it makes me I woke up this morning with a huge smile on my face, is that we'll never have to argue it ever again because he's been in 2 Super Bowl losses and he's been blown out by both of them. And Brady did one of them. The Tampa game was with Brady on the field, and a 43-year-old Tom Brady won the game 31-9. He's lost 2 games now by double digits.
3 more Super Bowls.
Tom Brady
Tom Brady won his 4th Super Bowl after age 37.
Correct. He won. Even more impressive. He won four. He won four after 37.
So before the story's written and dead and buried,
I'm not debating the point.
You're debating it. You're not debating it anymore. You've already closed the argument open and shut.
It's done. I don't care what Mahomes does the rest of his career. It's over. No, he will
sound like an idiot.
He will never live down last night.
He will never
live that. He's lost, Steve. He's lost 2 games. Yeah. Okay. You tell me this. How many games did Joe Montana lose in the Super Bowl?
None.
None. He lost none. He went 4-0. Okay. He has 2 losses now by double digits. He's behind Montana. Okay. He may pass Montana one day if he goes 5-3 or 6-3. But right now, Mahomes is behind Joe Montana, who went 4-0 in the Super Bowl. So this is not sounding like an idiot. This is facts. You just don't want facts. I'm giving you real facts.
You're giving me facts, but you're willing to bury the argument. And Patrick Mahomes is 29 or 30 years old.
He's not getting back to the Super Bowl for a while. Okay. This is going to be change time for the Chiefs. This is going to be a great sign of just how good Belichick and Brady really were. Because Brady, when he got to this point, the inflection point, went a decade, went 10 years between championships. And it was a long, hard road because the league caught up. We just saw the Eagles team throw back to what football used to be. Defensive line and offensive line.
Right.
Dominant, right?
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere, and that's a blueprint for other teams. Now, you have to have Saquon Barkley, but that's a blueprint that teams are going to copy. And having, I think Kelsey's done. Maybe he comes back, but he looks washed. He looks done. Now you got a bunch of wide receivers who are all young and inexperienced. You have to rebuild the whole offensive line. The whole line for that Chiefs team is decimated. You have a defensive line that's okay, a secondary that's okay, but you've got issues that the Chiefs have to tackle going forward that could create it. And the division is getting much better, much better.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the underlying part of this wonderful dynasty that, the AFC East and the Patriots had.
Never
played in a joke of a division for a long time.
There's no debate on that, but that's not the Patriots' fault. That's the other 3 franchises being clown shows.
I mean, that's gets an asterisk in the thing.
No, you're the one that says play the games on the schedule, not me. That's your line. You always say play their schedule. That's all they did.
That's all they did. That's right.
There's no asterisk.
Give them credit.
Or we putting an asterisk on Penn State.
They had
on
home state. They had
schedule,
home playoff games. 2 home playoff games to get to the Super Bowl every year.
Sure. You play the schedule.
Problem.
There's no asterisk there. You play the schedule. Got to beat them. Got to beat the Patriots. Nobody could do it for 20 years. The dynasty is so different. There's 6 championships. Vince Wilfork was great.
Dynasties from the same team. You keep saying it's 20 years.
It's the same thing. They played in 2 Super Bowls and lost. How is it not the same thing? It's the same dynasty. It's just they went 10 years between winning, but they still played in 2 Super Bowls. They got there. They played AFC. They went to 9. What was it? 9.
So maybe these are the Patriot losses for the Chiefs.
I mean, right? Again,
they could be
Kelsey is either done or washed, one of the 2. Okay, so you're Binky, your go-to guy, the guy that you did this with, Reed, Mahomes, Kelsey.
Right,
you're losing one of them, and now you got to rebuild, and you got to find a different way around it. The Patriots were able to do that on the fly. They lost losing coordinators. Bill Belichick lost coordinators like crazy.
He did
the head coaching job, and he kept on replacing them.
Some of them came back.
And consistently going back. They came. It was ridiculous. Now they're back again. I mean, the 3rd time in a row now for the offensive coordinator spot for Josh McDaniels. Yeah. That was incredible what Belichick has done and what he was able to build. Andy Reid might be the best coach of all time. That argument I'll get into. I'll listen to Andy Reid against Bill Belichick.
Right.
Because what Andy Reid has done with 2 franchises versus Belichick's 1 is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Mahomes versus Brady is dead. It's done, dusted, goodbye. There is no conversation. You can't go 0-2 in Super Bowls like that in today's world versus what has come before you and have that be on your resume and say you're the greatest quarterback of all time.
Well, I would also argue that the Patriots wouldn't have done what they did in today's world either. Would have been impossible to keep a lot of that the way it was.
Why?
The league gets better. The league gets better very quickly. The league gets better.
There's no Manning in the league right now. There's no all-time great at the moment in the league. Look at the quarterbacks. We don't have a Peyton Manning right now. Brady had to deal with Manning every year in his conference every year.
Okay.
So I would disagree with that. I think the quarterback play when Tom played was way better than now. Quarterback
Game
play
was
is
different.
down.
Game was
So
different.
game was different, but the game was more. I mean, in terms of the way that the referees called the game, defenses had more latitude. I'll give you that.
Without a
Defenses
doubt.
were more physical.
Yeah.
So I think it was more difficult to win in the Patriots era than now. Quarterbacks can't be touched. Brady got his ass kicked. You know, our clip on that has nearly 500,000 views on Instagram talking about that, which shows you what the public thinks about how the game is officiated now and how the game is played. So I would disagree with you. I think it's easier to win now than it is to win when the Patriots dominated and what they want.
You got to win an extra playoff game. There's only one bye. The road to the Super Bowl is a little bit different than it was, going through a 12-4 record. There's an extra game in the regular season. There's international games. There's just, you play every day of the week.
Who's the Manning, Roger Long? Yeah. Who's coming? Who's the Manning? I mean, you can make a case that Burrow might be that guy, but he's not yet. Not by any means. I mean, Allen, I wouldn't put Allen. Allen's not Manning. No. Lamar Jackson is Michael Vick. Like he's a unique player that doesn't exist anywhere else in the league except in Baltimore. He's not like Peyton Manning. Archie Manning is going to be like, there's an actual Manning coming in 2 years. Okay, Archie Manning, fine. But like, is Archie going to be Peyton? I don't think so. That's not fair to put on Archie Manning. He couldn't even beat out the quarterback this year to play. So yeah, and you also had, right, I agree, Eric. Look at the quarterbacks that Tom had to play up against. Big Ben, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers in his prime.
Oh, well and good. Again, the underlying factor in the Patriots dynasty was their defenses.
True. Fair.
They had lots of good defenses.
When you say last year was won by the Chief defense? With what they did? So Chiefs have championships because of their defense too. So, I mean,
I think the Chiefs defense let them down.
This year, yeah, but last year that was incredible. Last year defense was amazing.
Was great.
So, I mean, they slammed the door hard on the 49ers. They couldn't do much. So, both teams have got it's football. It's a team game. The quarterback gets way too much blame and way too much credit. That's just the way that it works.
Correct.
But that's why Jalen Hurts gets, a lot of credit now, but got a lot of criticism before. Neither one is probably
They'd be talking about Jalen Hurts being a starting quarterback in Pittsburgh if they'd have lost yesterday. That's how close all this is.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, I agree.
It's silly.
I think there's going to be, the happiest person in the whole building yesterday was Tom Brady. Like he was in love with that. He was watching going like, this is great. We're not having this conversation is no longer happening. I never looked like this. I never did this. And when you get blown out in 2 Super Bowls and 2 of your losses, Brady's got 3 losses by 15 points.
Right.
3 by 15. He never lost like that. That was 40-6. There were 2 touchdowns that were garbage at the end of the game. That made it look a little better. But that was a 40-6
in the box score, by the way.
It does, but it doesn't count in the game itself. For 3 quarters, that was the worst performance.
You have different measuring
systems in a long time
than other people.
Fine, but
you measure it however you want it to fit
why
your
was
narrative.
He in the game? I have no clue why he was in the game. It was dangerous to put him in the game in the 4th quarter. That game was over. I didn't get what was going on. Like, what do you think you're going to come back? Like, why would you keep him in the game? It was just to score and make it look more pretty. For history's sake, to look back and be like, we didn't lose 40-6. We're not like the Bears, and the Patriots in '85 in New Orleans, because that was going to be the narrative. I was all revved up for that. It was going to be Bears, Patriots, 85 Super Bowl in New Orleans, identical, like just an absolute ass kicking in every single aspect, up and down. The difference was the Patriots were a wild card team, lucky to be there, first team ever to win 3 road games to get to a Super Bowl. And were outclassed in every factor. That was the 2-time defending champs that looked like that last night. They got embarrassed.
Happens. Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos were favored in a game against the Seahawks and got absolutely housed. I believe the score was 43-8.
Yeah, I tweeted that out today. Brady was down 28-3-1.
Yeah, that was
Mahomes
as much to do to Atlanta being completely inept and giving away the game.
There's some truth to that. Absolutely. Run the football.
All they had to do was score one more time. They would have ran out of time.
They couldn't run the ball. They could not run the ball. So they got scared and they started to throw the ball. And by throwing the ball, they were 3 and out, stop the clock, 3 and out, stop the clock in the Patriots defense. And then Brady was able to rally, come all the way back and go to overtime and win the game. But that's what greats do. Greats aren't held down long. And then look what happened last night. interception. I mean, again, you can let Mahomes off the hook if you want. I'm not letting him off the hook. He was garbage last night. He was absolutely disgusting last night. And you throw a pick 6 in the Super Bowl, and the pick in the red zone that he threw over the middle I don't know what he was looking at. Like that was an awful throw that led to an instant touchdown for the Eagles.
It's a great diving interception by that.
Sure. Well, Bob's amazing. He's all pro. And that's just what the guy is. But that defense is not going anywhere. Like the Eagles aren't going anywhere. Like,
Addison the wrench. Don't even bring that up. Hypothetical. If Mahomes would have come back to win last night, would he surpass Brady? Not on this show.
Not for me. No, but I would at least allow the conversation to continue. You could at least continue the GOAT debate.
Please.
GOAT debate's dead. Like GOAT debate is not even, you can't even have it anymore. No matter how hard those in the national media who are KC lovers are going to try to force it. The dynasty talk is done. The Mahomes GOAT talk is done. That's it. Like this is the game. Everyone's going to show this game and go, that's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Oh
really?
God.
He had how many yards in the first half?
Are you going to move on to the halftime show talk now? When you became you started tweeting about you don't understand white people. I didn't realize you weren't white people. What the hell did that even mean?
I am white people, but white America. I'm not part of the pearl clutching white America that couldn't understand what they were watching last night. I mean,
for the Lord,
if you don't understand what you're watching on TV, just say that. Like, just say you don't get the references, because when Taylor Swift does this, when Taylor Swift puts things out there where constant, what does she call them? Easter eggs. When there's constant Easter eggs throughout Taylor's album, everyone loves this. Taylor Swift is cute and she's interesting. When Kendrick Lamar does it, everybody freaks out and they're like, why is this done to minorities? Why is why are you marketing to minorities? This was on my timeline consistently last night when I said this about white America. And it's true that they are all angry because they didn't understand what they were looking at. But if you go and realize what he was doing and all the references, that was genius last night. Like watching that going like, oh my God. People are mad about the set list, and the set list is because of Spotify. If you want to know why Kendrick picked the songs he picked, go look at his top 10 songs on Spotify. I believe he played 8 of them.
Okay.
So he's just playing what his fans like, what the most spins are for Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
There's numerous songs he didn't play that I would 100% say. Like, if he had busted out Backstreet Freestyle, I think everyone would have freaked out because the lyrics would have been made like, mom and dad blush. He's got better songs than he played. But like, there's a whole backstory to Samuel L. Jackson. Like, do you know why Samuel L. Jackson was chosen to be the guy to be Uncle Sam? Because of the Uncle Tom reference. And Samuel L. Jackson once said that Kendrick Lamar's, ghetto music was bad for the black community. Mm-hmm. So he spun it around and he had Samuel L. Jackson introduce him for the Super Bowl, which like, if you knew the backstory to that, you were like, oh my God, that's incredible.
There was a lot of inside jokes that nobody knew about. Yeah.
And that's
so
just
give the kids a poll. Give the kids a poll right now, because we got a lot of people watching and we like it. All of this. This is great. Did you like the halftime show last night? Yes or no? Simple vote. Just give them a poll right now to vote on. And I don't care about the results. And it's all anonymous. Again, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button while you're here. But I don't know. Like some people look at the Mona Lisa and think, man, that is an unbelievable piece of art. Other people look at the Mona Lisa and go, listen, that's.
But why is it everyone over 50 who hated that last night? Everyone under 50 got it.
Again, I don't know who you talk to, but there's people that like rap that are young that didn't like the show. There's other people that do like the show. I think you're making a generalization comment based on your Twitter feed, which again is curated a certain way, and people talk about it. You can like it and you can not like it. You don't have to be a boomer. But you turned not white yesterday with that tweet. I saw it and I went, what the is he talking about?
Did you know the Drake's backstory?
I knew enough of it, yes.
So you didn't find that funny?
I had an 11-year-old here. I was sitting with an 11-year-old that was more excited to watch that, knew every word to every song, and was like, wow, he did this. Okay, cool. That's fine. Like,
I mean, he brought out Serena Williams.
Because you think it's art, other people have to disagree with it. And you
No,
get
I
like,
think
oh,
the
you're a
pearl
boomer,
clutching,
you're this.
the
White
pearl
America's
clutching
upset.
yes,
You
because they
sound
are.
like an
They are.
idiot again.
It's white America. That was the people who are angry about the halftime show is people 50 plus white America. That's just a fact. Like, look at it. I mean, that's who's mad about it. It was awesome. I can't tell you how many people, this sucks. This is the worst. They're all over 50 white guys. All of them. And most of them are in the media. Like, they're all in the media. So, like, and they're all mad going into it. So if you got all the references, if you had what was going on, you looked at it and you're like, wow, that was really funny. Like, that was funny, intelligent, all the references, all the different, I mean, the songs are the songs. Either you like Kendrick Lamar or you don't. If you don't like him, that's fine. I get that. But the performance as is, it was, you're right, it was somewhat of an inside joke, which I'm okay with. Just say that. Just say it was an inside joke and you'd rather watch some 80s hair band perform because it's the halftime show and it's supposed to be.
Why does it have to be that? You sound like them.
Because
when you make that comment, you sound like them.
Want.
2 years ago in LA, it was tremendous, and it was rap and hip hop and this and that.
It was.
People that don't even like that kind of music loved Dre and Snoop,
and it was awesome,
and Eminem. And it was black and it was white and it was this. So just because you didn't like Kendrick Lamar means you have to like some 80s hair band.
I'm just saying,
not everybody likes either. Like, think about what you're saying and typing.
I do. I know exactly what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that people who don't understand what they were watching should simply just say they don't understand what they were watching versus calling it the worst thing they've ever seen, or they don't understand, or they couldn't understand the lyrics, or they don't get the rap music. They don't get the beats, all the things that were going in there. Like, Kendrick Lamar is a thinking man's rap guy. Like, he's got lyrics that are poetry. Like, he just won the Grammy. He just won multiple Grammys for everything. And people were thinking this guy is not talented.
People win Grammys every day, and it don't mean crap. It means that the industry awarded them it, but it doesn't mean that people like it. Look at the film industry. They win awards all the time. They're usually the ones that win the awards. 90% of people don't like those movies.
I don't think that's true, but okay, that's fine. So it's just a matter of what 13,000 people vote for the Grammys. So it's not like this is a small sample size of people that come in. This is a big sample size of people who vote for the Grammys.
13,000 people who?
13,000
people?
Yeah, members of the Academy. 13,000 members of the Academy vote for the Grammys. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people who know music, who understand music, understand art.
Do they buy it or do they get it free because they're in the Academy?
Well, it depends.
I mean, consume it.
Sure, they do.
They don't speak for the consumer.
I don't know. I disagree with that.
Talking about stuff. They're not asking the constituents. Ask the people what they thought about the. I mean, seriously, it was for a limited amount of people, and he did mumble. Fact. Well, he didn't mumble the whole time.
But that's Kendrick, though. If you know the
100%, you know that.
Ask your daughter. Did she know all the lyrics? She knew all the lyrics.
She's listened to them 1,000 times in her ear.
That's my point.
She knows it.
She knows them, so you understand what they are. Rap music live, generally speaking, if you don't know the lyrics, it's hard to understand.
Of course.
You have to know the lyrics because it's fast talk, in rhythm, in rhyme.
That doesn't mean you only like 80s hair band music.
I'm just saying, it was Drake is probably going to sue everyone, which I think is hysterically funny. That's my point. If you don't know what he's going to sue for that's the whole point.
Tell people what he's going to sue for.
One, you can't do Not Like Us, which is calling Drake a pedophile. Okay. The whole song is calling Drake a pedophile. So the entire building yelled a minor. Okay. Right. If you don't get the reference to that, if you don't understand why that's like, oh my God, on the Super Bowl, the entire crowd.
Because why hasn't he sued him yet?
Well, that's a question everyone's got, right?
So why is he going to sue him? Because he did it on the Super Bowl?
Yeah, because now you've got Fox is on the hook now. So now you can go after Fox. I'm not saying I love it. I mean, let him sue it. I don't give a crap.
When did you get your law degree? I'm just curious. Why would he sue him? Why would he have a case now?
Lawyers have been all over Twitter saying that he has a case now.
Because it's all over Twitter.
Lawyers over Twitter were doing this.
Okay. All right.
Defamation because he's not a pedophile.
Right.
Right. So there's I hope it goes to court. It would be hysterical to watch it if it were to go to court, right? People have chosen sides. Are you on Team Drake or are you on Team Kendrick Lamar? I don't really care either way. I appreciate both artists. I like Kendrick more than I like Drake musically, but that's just me. I think it's super funny that if you don't know the backstory, then you're like, why was that such a great performance? Where if you know the backstory and someone shows it to you, you're like, oh, now I get why that was good. Now I get why that was funny. Now I get why people thought that was really entertaining. Yeah. So inside jokes, but Taylor does it all the time. And everyone thinks it's cute. Everyone thinks it's so unique and nice. And then Kendrick does it, and it's like, well, it was at the Super Bowl. So, that really, you should be appealing to a bigger audience. You should be appealing to everyone, not just a certain segment of the people who are watching, which he's the first solo artist to have this, to have a headline. And it was just him. Like, think about that. He brought out SZA because their song together is tremendous and her voice is beautiful. So he brought her out. But like, he didn't have like 4 or 5 different things. What made the Eminem and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg so wild is because they kept on bringing people out. It was like 5 shows in one. Yeah. This was one guy, all his. He designed that entire performance. So that's why people who are liking Kendrick go, holy crap, that was beautiful.
Okay.
So,
I don't know.
Taylor is way more popular than Kendrick. That's 100%. There's no fact to this. But right now, there's no hotter artist in the world than Kendrick Lamar. And like the hatred, just say you didn't like it. Calling it the worst halftime performance ever is like,
well, that's what we do all the time. That's what the media does. Everything's the best and the worst today. I mean, you're already buried Patrick Mahomes and his legacy for being the greatest quarterback ever at 29. So, that's what the media does. You're all guilty of it. That's it.
But I'm not saying it's, I don't know.
I just don't know how you turned it into white people. Like you are white.
Correct.
That was amazing.
I can talk about this.
White people don't understand.
They don't. I know plenty of them. Lived all over the country.
So you're white. You understand though.
So I understand
it because come off as holier than thou, and
that's
sound
fine.
Like a jaguar.
I don't care about that. That has never bothered me. Like that's not
obviously.
I'm telling you that people in the white community are the ones who are angry about Kendrick Lamar. They're the ones who are mad about that performance. Find me somebody who is angry about Lamar's performance, please, and show me if they're African-American or someone who is under the age of 50. Show me somebody who is actually mad about what that performance was. There are people who are legitimately furious about that performance and how it went down. There's all op-ed pieces being written and all people coming down and saying all these things are out there. So to me, I look at it and I go, yeah, you guys are all really stuck in 1985. And this country is stuck in 85 in a lot of ways. So like, it's no shock that that's the reaction that people have had to Kendrick Lamar. Like the pearl clutching going on, that Serena Williams was crip walking. Oh my God, this is horrible. Her father tried to keep her away from that for so long. And now she's crip walking on the, on the national stage, and she's Drake's ex. So you bring her out to do a dance that was made popular in Compton, which is where Kendrick Lamar is from. And all of a sudden people are going, oh my God, Serena, I can't believe you did that. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Criticize anything and everything. Like it's not all of that. I don't understand it. It's a halftime performance, and you either liked it or you didn't.
Correct.
Who cares? You turned it into a white thing.
It is a white thing. It is a white thing.
It's not a white thing.
It is.
It's not. You're making it like that. You're just like the commercial with Brady and Snoop saying we got to talk about hate, and you sound more and more and more as you say it.
We should talk about
the argument worse. Let's talk about it was a performance. You either liked it or you didn't. Why do you turn it into
I think that's
white people like it? Do you think all black people liked it?
I think the majority of black people would like it. Yes. I think generally speaking, yes. I think the majority of African American people would have liked that performance. Yes. Okay. I know under the age of 50, that would be incredibly high. Everybody in the building screamed a minor. They all knew the line. They were waiting for it, and they all said it. And then at the end, it was game over. Like everybody got it. It was game over. Okay. So it's like, yes.
You were in the building? You heard everybody yell it?
Dave,
the people were in the bathroom.
No, look at the lines of people who were there. Look at everyone who was there. Look at the media members who tweeted out videos of how loud it was in the building, of how many people
was loud in the building.
Everyone screamed.
It should be. It's the Super Bowl halftime performance.
And they all knew an insult calling one guy a pedophile. Like they knew an inside joke on a it was a diss track that just won the Grammy. Okay. Like this is an age thing. This is a class thing. This is a race thing. Absolutely. It comes down to these things. Without a doubt, it comes down. So like there's all sorts of things that have happened in this country that people, you're sounding just like everybody else. You're right. You're being made to feel uncomfortable about the acknowledgement that there are real race conversations in this country. And Kendrick Lamar is somebody who has tried very hard to make this go. I wasn't going to go here, but you're bringing this up and saying that I'm somehow sounding like an idiot and I'm outside. Look up the history. You don't know what you're talking about because you don't know Kendrick Lamar's background. You don't know who he is. You don't know what he has done. I know enough clearly. To know. You don't know anything about this because you wouldn't have said half the things you just said if you actually knew.
I'm saying the other side of the argument, Matt.
That's fine.
Because I fucking listen to the other side of the argument.
So do I.
Unlike you.
I listen to it.
You don't.
I do.
You don't.
I do.
That's the problem.
I'm listening to the argument. It's amazing. So what touched off the problem for you that I mentioned that white America doesn't like the performance? Because that's pretty much established. Yes. That's what touched you off.
So you're not part of that because you like the performance.
Well, I'm part of it, but I liked it, but I'm in the minority. I'm in the minority of people who are watching that who didn't like it. And most of them are over the age of 50 who didn't like the performance. I found it to be fine.
I like the performance.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you like the performance. But you also don't know anything about what goes on and why it made that so special, why it made it unique, what made it so you when you're watching going like,
so tell everybody, Matt, because I fucking do know. But I'm listening to the other side of the argument.
What is the other side of the
argument? It's a diss track, inside joke stuff.
Yes. 100%. Right? Yes, that's true. It's a diss track. It just won the Grammy. They don't know the
background. They don't understand a word that Kendrick says.
Okay.
Right? You can't.
But calling it the worst performance of all time has always been my problem. It's a pearl clutching event to go like, I can't believe that you allowed this person to come on and do what he did. He didn't even swear.
Who performed last year?
Was it Rihanna last year? Or was it 2 years ago for Rihanna? When was pregnant Rihanna?
I don't know.
2 years ago,
You're
I think.
The expert. Ask.
I forget which one it was.
Who performed in a Super Bowl last year?
No,
nobody knows.
No, because she was 2 years ago.
In 6 months, nobody's going to know about this one.
Oh,
you're making it a bigger deal.
Was it?
I think you're making it a bigger deal. It was Usher last year.
Thank you.
Was Usher good?
Yeah, he was okay. It was kind of nondescript. It wasn't artistic. It didn't do anything. It was just sort of there. It was kind of like, Rihanna was the first, and Rihanna got ripped for a lot of ways. She was pregnant when she was performing, so people felt uncomfortable, and she was, up high while she was pregnant. But I thought Rihanna was good. I think I actually don't think most halftime shows have been bad. I mean, I try to think about one halftime show that I thought was bad that was out there for the NFL.
I never watched one halftime show for 25 years because it was working.
Usher.
D. Weezy says Usher was awful. Dave's Daily Pick says Usher was great.
This
is crazy. I know both of you. You're both white. How could that be? Oh my God. Ask a black guy.
Well, Kendrick's different though. But Kendrick's different.
What are we doing?
Kendrick's different. Kendrick's got his history is different. He's an activist. He's a different type of artist. He's not, he's not trying to fill places in Vegas. He's not trying to do the things other artists are doing. Like he's there. And yes, I do agree with this. So Kelsey, people didn't like the halftime show. I'm just a little. I think most people under the age of 40 liked it, who understood it, who got it, and were like.
I think the kids got it.
Yeah, and that's who it was for. And that's my point. That's why I said what I said. 100%. Because most people, 50-year-old plus white people, flipped out.
Black, Mexican, Chinese. That's for everybody. That's for everybody to decide. I don't think it's a race thing. It's a generational thing. Yes, that was for the kids. And the kids are speaking and listening. And they got a guy like Kendrick Lamar that has the platform. And it's there. Acknowledge it. You can say you didn't like it.
Yes, that's fine. Calling it the worst performance of all time and ripping it to the point it was being ripped consistently is why I said what I said. Because you should see my mentions with a bunch of old white guys who are constantly bringing up race, who are constantly bringing up about all these. It was I've been told numerous times, that was a performance for minorities. That was not a performance for white people. It was a performance for minorities, which I think is code word. It's a racist code word. Saying like, oh, okay. So that was for black people only, which I don't think that's true. I don't think it's a performance for black people only. I think for people who actually understood what Kendrick was doing, which I don't think was as well known as what you normally see. You can rip the NFL for that. You can say, wait a minute, you've brought in somebody who's going to market to their audience and do things. He was smiling and laughing at the camera going, hey, Drake, I mean, like he literally was talking to Drake during the show, smiling about what he was doing. He was wearing jewelry that has a lowercase a on it, which is the same thing, an A minor. Like this is what he was going after. The whole thing was a diss track. The whole performance was a rip on Drake.
Yeah.
His ex-girlfriend performing on stage. Like it was the whole thing was.
It was a real FU to him and everything.
Of course.
It was like I'm at the Super Bowl performing this and you're not.
Yeah. And Drake can take away a victory from that, to be quite honest. If I'm Drake, I just got everyone talking about me across the entire globe without doing anything. I just sit back. Now, do I like being called a pedophile? Okay. Like that's not really what you want to be called. But it's one of those situations.
I just like to think about the times when performers just performed. Like it's a new age where you have to put someone else down in a different time. Like, and gambling Twitter does it. I mean, there's guys that I know personally that they base their whole show. Let's bad rep everybody else so we can sound better. I don't find that appealing, but
Mikey, that wasn't part of the show, just so you know. That was an actual protester.
Yeah, he got on the field.
Yeah, that wasn't part of the show. People thought it was part of the show.
That was not. No, that was alarming.
The NFL made that pretty clear
afterwards
by saying that was not part of the show. That was a totally different set of circumstances that come in. And that was scary, to be quite honest, because you didn't know why that guy was on there. And did Drake delete all of his socials? Yes, he did. Drake deleted his Twitter. But so did who do you call it? So did Kim Kardashian's ex, Kanye. Kanye deleted all of his socials last night too.
There may be other reasons for that too.
Well, he tweeted a bunch of different stuff. You remember, I don't know if you saw the Grammys or not, but he tried to sneak into the Grammys with his now wife, and she was basically naked. So she was wearing like I don't know what you call that. It wasn't a dress. It was like a see-through thing that she was wearing. So he may have supposedly he did delete his stuff, not kicked out, but people thought he was trying to get banned from social media. So on that. All right, we can move on from that.
Yes.
The Jets made Aaron Rodgers fly to New York to tell him that he's fired.
How about that?
Is he done in the NFL? This was a jerk move. Like this was not needed. Like I don't understand why the Jets did this. I don't like the Jets, but if I'm Aaron Rodgers,
he went to go sit with the Hayahuska and went in a cave and didn't even tell him he was going. Right? He didn't go to mini camp.
I know, but like,
why is it okay? Listen, this is the rules you're going to play by. Play by the rules. He played by the rules, and they waited and said, "You know what? We're good. You're not coming back." I mean, he had to know, right? Do you think he went with his bags in hand and said, "Hey, I can't wait to get ready for mini camp with the new coaching staff"?
Just depends on who you read today.
He had to know.
According to the New York media, he did not know.
I don't read any of that stuff.
Okay,
just use your own judgment.
The New York media, according to the sources inside the Jets organization, Aaron Rodgers was told to come meet with the new coaching staff to plan for next year, and he was brought in and they fired him.
Yeah, they told Joe Pesci that in Goodfellas too, and walked him to a place and whacked him. So they can tell you whatever they want.
But that's of all the moves, like holy shit, like that's the move. Like that's.
I just hope he don't go to Pittsburgh.
Oh my.
Because now it's free. Now he's free. And they do another stopgap 1 year thing. Aaron, come in. We'll give you the deal. We need a veteran quarterback. Oh, Lord. I already see it coming. I'm waiting for somebody to jag me and post it and say, look, how does Aaron Rodgers look in a Steeler uniform?
I thought he's going to be a Giant coach. I thought quarterback for the Giants, I thought he's going to he'll stay in New York and he'll be a Giant quarterback next year.
Oh.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. To the Giants is the rumor that he's going to stay in New York and just go quarterback for the Giants, not the Jets.
It's a lot of money, and I get it. And I told you this before. I don't know where everybody stands with this, but they would have to rip that uniform off me. If I think I could still play, I would still try to play, but I would not want to go play for a 4-13 team. I don't love playing that much.
What about here?
My body hurts.
Raiders.
Vegas.
Raiders.
Are those two talking?
Well, there's going to be a veteran quarterback because we know that Pete Carroll is not coming here to build. Like Pete Carroll is going to try to win right away. He's 73 years old. So he's trying to win right now. He's the oldest coach ever hired in the NFL. So he has to win right now. So any of these veteran quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, who else is going to be Russell Wilson. Like,
man.
any of those three quarterbacks are going to wind up here. Sam Darnold to the Raiders. Oh boy. Well, I guess how does Brady feel about him? If Brady likes him, I guess. But Brady's gonna have a big time thing to say what's gonna happen with that on that.
I mean, Pete is in it for how long? 2 years?
Yeah, agreed.
So
I mean, if he wins,
Tom knows this. I don't know. I mean, was the guy going to coach till he's 80? 75, right? 73. 73 years old. And he's energetic as hell, and I'm not besmirching old people at all.
But still 73 years old. I don't care.
I mean, let's legitimately think if he has a really good run, it's 3 years.
Max.
I'd pick a quarterback that's going to be physically able to perform the job for 3 years if I'm picking a Raider quarterback. So that rules out Aaron Rodgers.
You comfortable giving Sam Darnold $30 million?
It's not my money. Whatever they're going to do, they're going to do anyway.
Well,
get us out here. We'll
how much of the cap?
Time. Will, you had to work overtime today. I apologize. Tomorrow, we're doing the show at 8 a.m. Pacific. 8 a.m. Pacific, boys and girls. If you're watching on a replay, you'll know whatever. But we're going to do 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. Set your clocks. Subscribe. Set the alerts. Whatever else you want to say. Tell them.
Bonus time starts right now. Wrong singer.
Double click a.
Click
a stinger?
I hit the wrong one. No, I hit the wrong
Which one did you hit? The good one?
I hit the good one.
Hit the good one. 8 a.m. sharp, Jackoff.
Yeah, it won't be that ish because I got
8 a.m. sharp. We're starting at 8. I don't know how we're going. Nikki, you got the stinger. Fired the fuck up today. Oh, damn.
You sweating today?
Sweating. I feel like Pharrell.
That's what you pulling on Scotty? You're sweating today.
Fucking on fire.
It's good.
My favorite thing about today, I got to tell you, I can't believe it. My favorite thing about today. Start off my day, I had to go. I felt like a defense lawyer going.
Already? Okay.
Oh, we had a huge thing this morning.
You mentioned it already. Number 1, Auburn. Number 2, Duke. Both lost over the weekend. Here is KenPom's. KenPom over the last 96% of the last 20-year champions have had a top 31 offense and a top 21 defense. Okay. In the KenPom rankings. So it's not guaranteed, but it's almost guaranteed. So here are your teams that currently have a top 31 offense and a top 21 defense. Illinois and Maryland are not on this list. The rest of them are. Iowa State, Houston, Texas Tech, Arizona, Duke, Florida, and Auburn. In case you're looking to buy any futures, you may want to take a look at those teams, those 9 teams here. Auburn, Duke, Houston, really Auburn and Duke, and then Houston, Alabama. What do you make of
that's
wins?
Arizona.
Oh, sorry. What did I say? Auburn?
You said Alabama.
Oh, sorry. Arizona. Excuse me. Arizona on the list. Excuse me.
Yeah, that A is for Arizona, which
they are 30.
That's fool's gold. You fall for that shit every year. I get a ticket on Arizona and they never get to the second round, let alone a third round and whatever.
And look at the jump because Iowa State is 14-1. And then we go to 30-1 with Arizona. Yeah. Texas Tech's 30-1. St. John's is on this list, which is surprising, but St. John's offensively is not a top 30 offense, top 31 offense. You've got Kentucky on this list at 35-1. But I think the bottom three, I'm buying tickets on. Duke, Florida, Auburn.
Duke, Florida, Auburn. Yeah, Florida was a really good game going to Auburn and winning.
Huge
statement. I feel like they could go anywhere and win.
They have. They're the first team. I think I'm going to get the stat wrong, but they're historically winning versus number 1 at home and winning versus number 1 on the road are two, in the same season. Hasn't happened in like the last decade, and Florida just did it. So Florida's really good. Florida's really, really good. Arizona has been hot. They've won 9 in a row, but I'm with Dave. Arizona is.
I just feel like I fall for it every time. I want to believe in Arizona. I really do. We got a lot of people that watch the show from Arizona. Nikki,
Caleb Love can shoot. You can beat anybody or have you lose to a 16 seed.
Yeah.
Caleb Love is too volatile. I can't
you're
trust.
Looking for in a team to win it all when you start to do these futures is a team that's going to win on their worst night. Do you have a team that can win on their worst night? And there's not too many teams that can actually say that.
That's point guard play. Yeah, Nikki, I'm with you on St. John's. My God, I was dead wrong about that. St. John's is
It's a good basketball team, and they're not on the weatherman's list. I mean, Ken Palm was a weather guy.
Patino's got a team. Like they got a straight team. Patrick, on Creighton, I don't know. I got to be honest. I love the Jays are the hottest team in basketball, so just keep on betting them and keep on making money. They've covered 10 games in a row. They've won 10 games in a row. So I would just keep on betting on the Jays. But in terms of when it gets to March, they've got something you can't defend in Kalkbrenner. You have a senior point guard who can hit threes from anywhere in the gym in Ashworth. But I don't know if you got foul trouble. If you played a team that had a big that could get any of the important players into foul trouble, get Kalkbrenner in foul trouble, I don't know if they're built for March. It's hard to be a 2-man team up against a 5 type of, like if they played Houston, the Jays lose that game. They're not beating Houston. So the draw is going to match up. It's going to matter.
Houston got some dogs, man. They are just
Jays aren't tough enough to handle a team like Houston. And sure as hell, Kalkbrenner's not.
And again, I'm very happy that we're talking about the Super Bowl today after the Super Bowl and not talking about the refs, because it could have been really, really ugly had that interference call led to everything else.
Chief
could
victory.
have come after that and a Chief win. So
100%.
The officials in the NCAA basketball tournament, sometimes the way a game is called can affect a team's destiny. You have to be able to win a bunch of different ways to win the basketball tournament.
Right.
I don't know how many ways that Creighton can win. Is that fair?
100%. They hit if they miss their threes, they're dead. Since they've inserted a couple of new kids into the starting lineup, they've changed the way they play, and they're more physical underneath, and they're rebounding the basketball better, so they can absorb a bad shooting night in a better way than they have. But yes, I agree with you. They really only have 1 or 2 ways to beat you, and that's inside to Kalkbrenner and outside on the 3-point line, which is what basketball is today. So it's not like they're playing a brand of basketball that's unique. It's just when you have a 7'2" kid on the other end, you're going to rim protect with anybody in basketball.
Right.
If they got into like a 55-54 game, I think that even though they've won game, that they gave St. John's their only loss in the Big East in a game that was 52-51. So like they can do that. It's just come tournament time. I don't know. I think Coach McDermott should be a finalist for Coach of the Year because they lost by 24 points to Georgetown on the road, and they've been the hottest team in basketball since, both against the number and wins. So, but at 50-1, it's 50-1. Come on, it's a.
Listen, at 50-1, you just want to get to the Sweet 16.
It's a pizza bet for you guys.
You can, $20 at 50-1 gets you a dime.
Right. And you can hedge off of it and do whatever you got.
Yeah.
I actually thought this story was fake. I was so tied up with college basketball and the NFL over the weekend that I missed this story. He got hurt. How the fuck did Anthony Davis get hurt?
Just a
Nico Harrison, the GM who traded Luka Doncic, is traveling with security in Dallas.
Yeah.
In his home market. Yeah. He's traveling with security.
I know.
Like Mavs fans want to kill him. He's got death threats from Mavs. And now the guy he trades for might need surgery, and Anthony Davis might be done for the year. If he gets surgery, he's done for the year.
Yeah. I don't know if it was predictable. It was likely to happen, and it's an unfortunate thing because he genuinely looked like he was excited to be there, and it genuinely looked like they were excited to have him.
His debut was great.
Yes.
So not so great. What a great trade. What a great trade. Yeah. What could have told you that AD would get hurt? Like what in the world could lead you to believe that Anthony Davis was a liability to get hurt?
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. I honest to God, I was like, there's no way. He got hurt after one game. He got hurt in what? Like of all the things. When he got that phone call, he must have been like, you're kidding, right? Like there's no way. Like this is not.
When they said it after the game, it was a non-contact injury, and they're going to look at it and evaluate it. And then the next day, it comes out, Super Bowl Sunday. Let's slide this out.
Yeah,
he's going to miss several games.
Yep.
What?
Several weeks. That's several weeks. He's going from this.
Not good.
Not good at all. Also is not good when you get your face.
That. Oh my God. I didn't see that picture. That's disgusting. Holy shit. Is that his nose?
So Sean Strickland's nose was broken in 6 places.
Oh, my
Dave, he fought
God.
for 7.5 minutes
After that?
after his nose was rearranged. He put it back into place during the fight. He got hit, the fight, his nose moved, and he put it back into place. It was gushing blood all over the place. I can't imagine the pain of being punched in the face with a broken nose. Like, adrenaline's one thing. Like, I get adrenaline, but I can't understand how he did that. And Strickland's getting ripped for his performance, and rightfully so, because he is not the guy he says he is. And Duplessis is a real big problem in that division. But that was, every time he got punched in the face, I was like, it must feel like lightning going through his brain every time he's getting punched in the face.
Pierre in the cut just came in the chat and said, "Is that Drake?" You got me, Pierre.
That's good.
That's pretty funny. That was pretty good. Ian Lights Out said that is no longer a nose at that point, just a sack of broken cartilage.
Fair.
That's a good point. Yeah. I have broken my nose and put it back into place. It fucking hurts. But I didn't get punched in the face afterward. Are you nuts? That is different level of
Pain.
I don't even know. That is, oh my Lord.
Yeah. No thanks. That's one of the most insane. I just kept on going like he
Did
is
it make
getting
it to
punched.
the end or did they stop the fight?
No, it went all 5 rounds. He fought for a round and a half. It got broken in the 3rd round. Or no, sorry, halfway through the 4th round. So he fought the rest of the 4th round and then the entire 5th round he fought with his nose completely destroyed like that.
That's unbelievable.
I don't know how he did it. I mean, he lost. He lost badly. He got completely, it was 5-0. Like, it was, Duplessis destroyed him. But he's a really tough SOB who took a lot of punishment, and that was a lot of blood. That was not for anybody who was weak in the stomach.
Yeah.
Luka makes his debut tonight for the Lakers. Lakers
I'll
laying
watch.
12.5.
I can't wait to watch. I want to see him in a Laker uniform. I want to see him do whatever he's going to do. I want to see how
so weird. It's gonna look so
him
weird.
and LeBron play together. Sign me up for all of it. I can't wait. Now, does that mean lay it?
12.5 points. Utah sucks, but
that's a lot of puntos. I think you'll wait.
yeah,
Like, they're not going to lead. They're not going to lead beginning to end. So
probably not. No,
Yeah.
I would probably not. What do you make of the 4 nations tournament? Are you at all interested in this?
I will 100% watch it, and I'm efforting to get Casey on to talk to us about it because she's looking at the lines and breaking it down and all this other stuff. So I think we'll get a better feel for that.
How many games are they playing against each other?
It's a round robin tournament. Everybody plays
3?
everybody.
So 3 games.
So yes, you play 3 games, and then
what the top 2 will play again.
Correct.
Will 3-4 play as well, or just 1-2?
I don't know if 3-4 are going to play, but I don't know if I'll bet it. I will watch it 100%. I don't know if anybody's going to watch it. The NHL's having a tough time right now finding its place within the sports community. Regrettably so. Like, I mean, that sucks because the game is great, and I think it lends itself to, if you're betting it, I think you feel like you get your money's worth every time.
Fair.
Like, you get a good effort pretty consistently. And
I just don't know this tournament. I started reading about it last week, and I know it's instead of the All-Star game. So it's, for guys like Matthew Tkachuk, he's like, we're not going to play an All-Star game. We're going to go play. We're wearing our country's jersey on our, flag on our jersey. We're going to go play. I just wonder, what does this do to teams who have star players who are playing in this thing, who come, I don't know, in 2 or 3 months where they haven't rested and they've played real hockey games, real important hockey games without the rest? What does that do to their legs come the playoffs?
It's 3 or 4 extra games. I don't know how much it's going to really do, but I hope they play it straight up. Like, I hope there's a physicality to the games.
Well, you would think with Canada and the United States, when they play, that you can't get away from that. Like, they hate each other. So, like, on the ice, you got to figure that's going to be physical.
It better be.
I mean, the names are, I mean, these are all-star rosters. These are incredible. I mean, the hockey heads are going crazy. I don't get into the lines, but I saw people breaking down lines today about what Canada, the top 6 for Canada looks like. And like the numbers are, the names are ridiculous. Like it's ridiculous.
Right.
No, Russia's not playing because they kept them out, Dave's Daily Pick, because of the fact that they are going by the IF whatever, and Russia is banned from playing in these tournaments because of doping. So
Sweden, Canada is
Finland
Wednesday.
Today.
No, it's
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
They don't have
sorry.
nothing going on until then. So they practice.
Oh, that was today. It
No.
doesn't start today? Oh, I thought it started today. See?
No.
Much like I thought it was
Wednesday,
today.
Sweden, Canada.
Okay.
Thursday, Finland, US, and then they go from there. So the games will be great.
When does Team USA play Canada?
I'll have to look at the schedule. I think the
Okay.
US plays Finland first, Sweden second, and then
McCarr, Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon,
pretty
Reinhardt.
it's pretty good. And they're worried about whether guys can play together or not and all this other stuff. I mean, good players can figure out how to play with other good players as they're tying their skates for the first time ever in the locker room. It doesn't take much.
It's not in Boston, huh? It's in Montreal.
USA,
Interesting.
Canada, Saturday night, Montreal.
Oh
Thank
my
you,
God,
Linus.
is it the Bell Center? Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
oh
yes.
my God,
We're
that's like
record-
Rocky. That's like a Rocky movie. USA's
Right.
going into the Bell Center to
That's
play
awesome.
Canada.
That's awesome.
Oh my God.
We're going to require you Canadian guys to keep us abreast of all this stuff. Thank you, Linus, and the rest of you watching in Canada. Let us know. The games next week are in Boston, Vinny Konwinski said.
Yes, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's two cities. I don't know the championship game. I know it's Montreal and Boston is where they're hosting both of the rounds.
College baseball week is here, according to California Wager. I see you working. We got a long way to go.
UNAB, Alan Bell. Licata, thank you for that. Addison, ESPN Buttes,
Thank you.
36-1 to bet Florida. Yes, bet it 100%.
Well, that's going to be the best number you will get, Addison.
Bet it 100%.
100%.
Duke, Florida, and Auburn. Those are the 3 teams that I will start my portfolio with, betting wise.
Duke, Florida, Auburn. Those are
yeah.
pretty good 3 to start.
Those are my 3 that I'll start. So
Ideally, they don't end up in the same region.
side of the bracket, yeah. Same region, same side of the bracket. 1, 2, 3. Yes, pitchers and catchers will report this week. That is right.
Yes, sir.
Time for bet it or book it. But where is that?
Slinger.
All right, really light menu. I'm taking the Heat. You guys can get 6. I got 5.5. Boston is notorious for going to Miami and laying eggs. I know Jimmy Butler is not going to be playing anymore for the Miami Heat, but this falls into Boston's 7-28-1 trend of ATS record after a win, and they just killed the Knicks.
Like, again, I was out looking at props and looking at all different things. Come out of retirement. I'm telling you, it's minus 105 to win the East for Boston.
Yeah.
Like, I got to go pick up a few things today.
Wait till they lose this
get
game,
some
though.
wins.
If they lose this game, I get a better price.
Right? And they're going to lose at Miami?
I could, yeah. They lost to Dallas at home without Luka. Like,
I
they
guess.
they
Maybe
go out and
Miami's the perfect place to be a distraction, but my God,
They go
the
out and
Celtics
party.
are going to be in the conference finals.
Yeah.
So I'd say, all right, we'll ride with this trend and say this is a bet. And by the way, Santana, thank you. You almost forgot. I almost forgot. You got one job. I got one job to read it when you post it. Let's not forget the Dodgers are minus 450 to win the National League West. Shop it around. Thank you, Santana. P-Roll, that's a bet.
Yes. Clemson minus 5 tonight against North Carolina. Clemson just beat Duke. So they're betting Carolina. Numbers down to 4.5.
Listen,
Pros are betting Carolina.
that Clemson game on Saturday,
Mhm.
Dickie V coming back, all that stuff, that was awesome. This is a classic letdown spot, is it not?
Yep. 100%. But I'm betting Clemson just because I think Carolina is that bad.
Carolina is that bad. I don't know who needs to hear it. I'll take the dog. I will take the dog. I'll say this is a book it.
Okay.
Carolina sucks. The Juice, you're right. They
look at-
stink.
Look at Ian Lights Out. Lay the points for Clemson.
Whoa!
He's got Carolina
Is
gear
that-
on.
Is that actually Ian?
I don't know. He's got Carolina gear.
Look at this guy.
as a
He's
Tar
always
Heel
got these fun new avatars. As a Tar Heel fan, I hate to say it. Ian Lights Out. You're looking good, brother. I love the Carolina stuff.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm going to wear tonight on Sports Grid. I guess I'll wear the Carolina stuff. I need something to wear.
They're 4.5 now. I laid 5 last night.
Yep.
Favorite thing about today is what?
So favorite thing about today is I learned something new all the time from the kids, from this chat, from people that I talk to. We're going to hopefully make an announcement this week on this show. A couple different things, maybe I don't know what. I don't want to give it away, but
You already did.
No, I didn't. No,
kinda
there's
did.
people ask me a lot of questions about the show. I took 2 calls this morning about something else. Anyhow, I love it. But this one was really interesting. In 5th grade, we had an assignment. Kendall Littlekinsig had an assignment, and it was a writing assignment. And she had to write something, and it got submitted as being Chat GPT used. So assumed that she did it. The teacher assumed she did it. And we got a text, and we had to have a meeting, and there was all kind of things. And so we had a little discussion, one-on-one, when she came home, her and I. And then she got interrogated worse than a Russian gulag from myself, Judge Jessica, prosecuting district attorney Kylie, and super investigator Kelsey. And we determined that our client was 100% innocent. And we made the mistake of assuming that the AI was right, and that the school was right, and that the teacher was right at first, and she had to prove her case. We had some real knockdown, drag out discussions. As parents, we have to learn sometimes, listen to the kids. And we had to go to the school today on an off day and have a meeting and explain that maybe this fucking Chat GPT is wrong because she didn't do it. And I learned a lot this morning. And my favorite thing about today is that don't quash, or what's the word I want to look. I equated it to this, to the administrative people that we were speaking with. If someone is a flower because they're smart or they think differently, let's water it and encourage it to grow and give it sunlight, rather than immediately try to rip it out of the ground like a weed or step on it, because maybe it's a little more advanced than a lot of other people. I said, and I left it with, please do not kill my daughter's enthusiasm for school. She loves it. She loves to read. She loves to write.
How old was the teacher?
Wasn't with the teacher.
Oh.
We had to have a meeting because teacher was off today. Today was when we had to have the meeting. So we'll figure it all out. I said, listen, I support everything you guys do. And you know what they told us? You guys are the exception.
Mm.
Parents don't get involved like you.
That sucks.
And I said, okay, so you know that. You've had my kid in that class for 6 months now. August, September, it's 7 months. And you took a Chat GPT word before you asked my kid if she did it? I said, hold on here. We'll get to the bottom of it, but I'm trying to speak to you for every kid that don't have a parent that's going to come in and fight for them. And I'm trying to tell you that just because the Chat GPT says it,
yeah,
it ain't fucking right. I Googled myself over the weekend because someone sent it to me.
Right.
And I didn't believe it. If you Google Dave Sharapan, you know what comes up? Musical artist.
Really?
That's my title underneath.
With your picture?
With all the pictures of the show. It's pictures of the show, all this other stuff. It says Dave Sharapan, musical artist. And I can't sing. I never played an instrument in my life. I tried to take piano. I love music.
Somebody must be just jagging you with that. Somebody must figure out how to do that because
I Googled it and it.
No, I know, but there must be some. If you figure out, the only way that would happen is if like Google will pull like Wikipedia and put it at the top, or pull up like a bio of you and put it at the top. So yeah, it has to be because of this.
Thank you. Might be awesome. Hashtag yo BVB raps. Maybe it is.
That's got to be why.
But
What's
I
wrong?
do rap every Friday, JPC. You're right. So I showed the people that. I said, listen, this has me as a musical artist.
That's awesome.
Just because the phone says it or the computer says it or some system that we built as human beings then tells us the answer. I said, I read the essay. You know what I told her? This isn't even your best work. You can do better than this. Why did you write it like this? And she goes, well, because it was easy and I just wanted to get it done. And I said, okay, well, because you did it too fast and you used words that were too big, it got flagged for being artificially used, or we used artificial sources to get this stuff.
Yeah, see, they do that at UNLV, and like,
yeah,
I did not know, because I do audio, obviously, so I don't have to worry about this. The kids aren't writing anything, but like, you got to be really careful about accusing a kid of doing that. You got to have evidence,
right?
You can't just say that because of some program spit it out. Like,
yeah,
that's really knee jerk. Like, that's not thinking it through. Because someone should have said,
and then it was the only one. That day, that thing was the only one, was one kid. And then it turns out the next day, one kid.
5th grade, accusing a kid of using that is like, in college, I know it's a pretty big, UNLV, it's a big deal. Like, if you get there's a whole panel that you go in front of if you're accused of plagiarism in any form or fashion.
Yeah.
But in 5th grade, like, what are we doing? Like, even if she did do it, don't you just kind of like say, hey, let's not have that happen again? Like, why would you interrogate a kid and make a kid feel that way? Because you can't prove it.
Well, there was no interrogation. It was, you did it.
Right. You're accusing a kid of doing it without having any real evidence that she did it. Chat GPT can't be your evidence. Like, you can't rely on that as being your only evidence.
And then the next day, when the next day's test was before it started,
right?
The explanation was, I can't trust any of you people any of you kids in this class to do it. And we already have one cheater in this class.
Whoa.
I won't name any names, but I don't want any of you else to be, doing this. And then another really smart kid got in trouble. And I went in and I had the conversation today, and I was calm and I made my case, and they were almost like in tears at one point, because I said, we can't teach to the bottom. We need to raise the bottom up. But if there are kids at the top, I said, I coach kids. I got 2 or 3 superstar athletes. Do you think I'm bringing them down?
Right.
I'm celebrating them and trying to tell the kids at the bottom, if you work hard enough, you might be able to get to that level. You might not, because they have God-given gifts that you never have. But 2, they work harder than every one of you. You're going to tell a kid that because you did it too good, you're in trouble? I said, we need to celebrate this. Instead, you're making her feel like a criminal. Well, I was hot, man. I've been in this mood all day.
Rightfully so. I think your point is really well spoken about. You never want to crush a kid's desire to do school, given that what's elementary school to begin with? You're trying to lay a foundation for what's going to happen, because it's just going to get harder for them. And middle school, what's middle school? Lay a foundation on top of the elementary school foundation to go to high school. What's high school? Lay the foundation of middle school to go to college. Like, so you don't want to get it to the point where the kid feels like, I don't like doing this, or you guys suck, or these things aren't going to, work, or blah, blah, blah. This is now people are just catching up.
Jimmy Burke, what the hell are you talking about?
It's trolling. This is just somebody coming in here and trolling.
Oh, Jimmy, thank you for watching the show.
But that's what my Twitter account looks like. In case you're curious, that's what my Twitter account looks like. It's something like that. My favorite thing about today is obviously what happened last night, and just waking up this morning and going like, okay, we don't have to have these conversations anymore as we go forward. And frankly, I think the NFL next year will be a lot more entertaining and interesting, because I think now we don't have this 20-month talk about the greatest and dynasty and 3 in a row and all these things. we'll talk about the Eagles, obviously, is can they go back to back? But I also think the league, the league will be better off from what happened last night. I also think we saw the return to power football in a big, big way. And I'm curious if the happiest person on the planet is the kid in Boise, Idaho right now who runs the football, who's going to be a top 5 pick. Because Genty is going to be, if this was 3 years ago, Genty probably is like a late first round pick. What Saquon just did, that kid's top 5 pick now.
Maybe. I don't know. You still got to have an offensive line to get the holes, and you have to have somebody upstairs or on the sideline calling the plays to put you in a position to succeed. I think the league is a copycat league, and I hope you're right, because that power football thing is how I grew up with football. Let's run the ball. Bradshaw was amazing, and he made the plays when he had to. They had great wide receivers, but I loved watching good defense, and I really enjoyed the hell out of the Eagles blasting that game last night.
Stop.
We are the new dynasty. Go Eagles. Yorkie.
Sound like Chief fans. Stop it.
Come on.
I'm not declaring anyone dynasty.
You didn't even text me, Yorkie, what time the hockey game is. You got a game tonight? Tell me. I need to get out and go to the rink. Jeez.
We're back tomorrow early.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. So lunch show for you guys on the East Coast, morning show for you guys who are on the West Coast, 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m. We'll see what happens.
And I don't know if we're going to be on the replay or not. I have no idea.
I'm going to say no, but we'll go on that. Will's hoping it's going to be no, given the number of swear words that were dropped today.
Sorry, Will.
It was a tough day.
Love you, bro.
Back tomorrow for a Tuesday early morning episode of BVB.
They ain't like us.